Hi guys, and welcome back to Tony's Tarot and Astrology. So we have a new moon today in Cancer, and going to be talking about the astrology, and we're going to do a tarot spread for each of the zodiac. So in the comments below on the YouTube page, I'm going to be putting up the minutes for each of the zodiac signs, so you can go straight to that. And don't forget to include your moon sign and your rising sign if you know it. So with this new moon, new moons are a time when the sun and the moon are conjunct, they come together, and this happens once a month in each of the zodiac signs. And that's a time when you've got the male and the female principles. They come together in unison to join to really allow us to feel whole and connected. So it's our physical and our emotional bodies coming together so that we can look at where we're wanting to project out on a more of a holistic level. So because a new moon is the imprint for the energy for the month, that's why I always do a spread for the zodiac on the new moons, because it will show what energies or what to expect for the month ahead. So what we have going on here, this new moon, so we have it at 7 degrees Cancer, and it's making a 90-degree square to Jupiter, which is at exactly 7 degrees Aries. So we've got a 7-degree theme happening here at this time. We also have Venus sitting at 7 degrees as well, though it's not aspecting the Sun Moon. So with this Sun Moon square Jupiter, like I said, it's a 90-degree angle. Now squares are, they're a bit challenging. That's actually when things come to a bit of a opportunity, if you like, to look at, to take advantage of, and to do something with. But sometimes, that's bringing things to our attention in more difficult ways. So with Jupiter there, it's going to be pushing us to look at where we're wanting to expand, grow. And Jupiter is all about, it's about productive energy, it's about growth, expansion. Jupiter's the largest planet, and it makes everything quite big, and it's about the bigger picture. When I say it makes everything big, it exaggerates. So, with the Sun Moon, with the Moon Jupiter square, because of course the Sun is square and the Moon is square, the Moon Jupiter square, it could be a bit of an emotional outburst. Things could be exaggerated a little bit in how we're feeling, but it's also a time when we can really take the bull, or the Aries, I should say, by the horns, and really make some bigger changes with that Jupiter, because it is challenging us, like I said, to really look at, whether it's our belief systems being Jupiter. Jupiter also rules beliefs, laws, religion. Like I said, it's the outer world, where we're seeing the bigger picture on not only what serves us, but where we're wanting to expand and grow, and where we fit into the world. So Jupiter there is sort of saying, where can we expand and grow at a physical and emotional level? So in other words, at a material or at a level where we're feeling a lot more fulfillment, emotional fulfillment. So Moon Jupiter is often about bigger business. It can be to do with enterprise, to do with overseas, being Jupiter. And the Sun Jupiter is also about productive growth, where we're really pushing forward for again a bigger picture, for where we're wanting to expand and grow. So Jupiter is always quite favourable to be aspected to any of the signs. With the Sun and Moon, it's quite a nice, it makes it quite an easy, soft combination going on. I will mention that we do have Black Moon Lilith. I don't know if everyone's familiar with Black Moon Lilith. She's a point, mathematical point, like the nodes are mathematical points, and she represents very powerful feminine energy, but of more of a mature nature. It can be very powerful creation, but also very, very powerful destruction when not used wisely. So the lesson with Black Moon Lilith is, transformation comes through, emotionally purging, emotionally pulling out all those more negative nasty or gnarly feelings within the female principle, whether they're feelings of, not being good enough, or whether they're feelings of jealousy or, you know, rage even sometimes, but what it does is it brings us to harmony and peace and understanding, and a higher understanding of who we are. So with Black Lilith, in our 20s and 30s, it can be a lot more challenging, but as we become older, because she is the older wise woman that has gone through all those emotions to come to a place where she is fully contented with who she is. And I feel for the female principle, this could be the challenge of connecting into that feminine energy and understanding our power, but using it for positive, productive purposes. The other interesting thing we have with the Sun, Moon, Jupiter is the midpoint. So exactly halfway between the square to the Sun, Moon, Jupiter, we have the node. And so what that does is creates a direct midpoint, and it means that the energy of the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, so this is your personal expression here, your outer expression in the world and where you're wanting to grow, and it's coming through your node. Your node is your connections, your associations, it can be family, it can be friends, it can be acquaintances, but it is saying that the node sitting there and it coming into, because we've got the conjunction of Uranus happening here now, and it's getting tighter and tighter, it's building all the way up to the 1st of August, where it is exact. With that, it's sort of feeling unsettled around the financial system, which is Taurus, but also our security, our finances, our assets. All that is going to be relevant and affected through others. So, in other words, we can expand through Jupiter personally at a physical and emotional level, through the help of others or people coming in to assist us. So, of course, depending on each of the zodiac, what effect that's taking will depend on what sector it's sitting in. So, I feel like that's very productive, it's very positive, and it does mean that we do have the opportunities for expansion and growth. We also have another square happening, which is Mars to Pluto. Now, this Pluto sitting here at 27, nearly 28 degrees Capricorn, and Mars is sitting at 27 degrees Aries, making a tight square. So Mars-Pluto energy, Mars is all about our drive, our desire, it's our energy field, and it's where we place our physical energy, but it's also, I feel, how we utilize our spiritual energy at some level. So with Mars and Pluto being the unconscious pull towards change, or it's not always, when I say unconscious, Jupiter is a conscious thing. It's like we want to grow, we want to expand, we want to learn about this particular belief system, or we want to expand in a material way. With Pluto, it's more like we're not aware exactly why we're doing what we're doing. We're just being pulled at an unconscious level. So Mars is actually about taking the action through our unconscious, feeling this unconscious pull, which I feel Mars is bringing it more into the conscious of what we need to do and where we need to act. Mars-Pluto, with Mars being in Aries and Pluto being in Capricorn, that's quite a strong energy to do with almost a militant energy, or an energy to do with power systems and control. Mars-Pluto is sort of saying like action and control is taking place here. Mars-Pluto can also relate to the military and other forms of where there can be a takeover or a situation where people are out in force, whether it's to do with our protecting us, as in we are in this protective mode of Cancer. This is all about our home and our safety and our security and our nurturing. Our safe haven is Cancer, our space of love, our home, where we create that space that other people can't enter. It's also our private life. And with the Mars-Pluto being quite in the forefront, again, on this cardinal energy that's going on, it's quite a strong time where we may want to take some action to either step up our finances through others, again, with the node there, in Taurus, or just take the action to make ourselves feel more secure whether that's at a financial level or a emotional level. So this is a time for things to happen with this Mars-Pluto energy going on. The other square we have going on is Saturn squaring the nodes, and we have the south node, the north node here. So the south node is where we've been. Astrologers relate the south node as where other lifetimes, where we've come through, what we've brought through from our other lifetimes, and then the north node is about where we're going, what we're in this lifetime for to reach our karmic direction, if we like, and why we're coming here. And so with the Saturn there, Saturn's making us take a hard look at, where we've been and where we're going. And with the nodes, it's always about connections, people, relationships. And, we often reflect ourselves, through and understand ourselves through our own personal relationships. And, with this, if we do something we don't like, we can want to just cut away from that and go, no, that's not who I am. And we aren't able to identify who we are truly without having the opposite in front of us. So with the Saturn node energy, it can, at a lesser level or at a more negative level, can make us feel like, breaking away from certain connections or relationships or family or situations. That can mean separation from people and situations, sometimes not necessarily in our control. But it also can mean that we can actually heal certain situations where we can, through maturity and understanding, that we can, see the individual for who they are and why they are the way they are. So with the Saturn node, there is that where there's maturity, that you're going to get more of a positive result with the Saturn node, because again it can give that understanding. And yes, you may still want to separate or go, well, that's what you've got to do and this is what I need to do, but it doesn't mean you're needing to actually just break away, burn bridges and cut off completely. So again, it depends on, what's going on for you, what the connection is, what the contract is with the connection and everything else. But, people aren't going to be feeling quite as connected in situations, or it could be where they're feeling disconnected relative to relationships, family members and so forth. This could be more of a time where they can bring back that loyalty, that trust, that that sense of responsibility and duty, and just to allow others to be who they are without any high expectations. So the other combination I wanted to talk about was we do have Pluto sextiling the south node, and now that is again about sort of karmic and fated connections. That again, like I was talking about, the past connections. So, Pluto is going to be pulling away at the past situations and reminding us, of the connections that we've made. Connections from the past could be quite prevalent at this time, bringing up change, or there could be some issues that to do with the past that are being cleared up during this time. So it's a soft aspect, it's an easy aspect, and Pluto node is often about, it's about the public. It's about the masses, and this can be have an effect on the masses or informational situations that are going on at that time, but it's pretty much looking very favourable for the masses with this soft aspect happening. So we can get on to, I don't think there's anything else here I need to talk about. So we're going to start with Aries. Oh, there is also a Neptune-Pluto happening here, and that's another soft sextile aspect. And Neptune-Pluto is a little bit of what the hell is going on here. It's quite a spiritual, quite elusive. It's connected to the supernatural. So, some people might be having very, very strong psychic energy around them or psychic experiences, but it can leave you feeling a little bit ungrounded. Again, it is a soft aspect, so I don't feel like it's a major feature here, or it's causing any disruptions here for people. If anything, I think it's allowing people to connect in and to understand there's a bigger universal plan at play here, and we've just got to keep pushing forward, because like I said, this is an extremely productive month really here with all this Jupiter combinations. So starting off with Aries. So Aries, the Sun Moon conjunction here sitting in your 4th house. So this is going to be connecting to the home environment, to your protective nature, keeping yourself safe, keeping your family safe. You may feel more wanting to be at home during this month, and you may be focused on what you're doing around the home or even property. And I say property because you have the Jupiter. So where the square is happening, it's happening in your 4th and 1st house. Jupiter's sitting in your 1st house. So this is a great time for Aries to expand and grow and to be really looking at their security. But not just the security, more where can I really extend myself. If you're wanting to step out into new opportunities during this time, it's really just going to come directly to you into your environment. So with Jupiter there, like I said, this is a very productive time for Aries, and the node is sitting in the 2nd house. So where I said the help from others, the assistance to step into new productive energy, it is coming in to your 2nd sector, which is all about your security, your financial assets. So with the focus on the home and then the connections being in the 2nd placement, it really would be a great time to be looking at property, purchasing property or adding to your assets. But I feel you will be doing that in conjunction with others. So whether you may be even thinking of moving with family or buying property and with family or friendships or other important connections to you. So we also have with the Saturn square node, that Saturn sitting in the 11th house, and this is relative to your friendships. And so for Aries, you may have felt that you've been downsizing with your friendships, or you haven't been getting out in the community as much as you were. This is temporary, of course, but I feel like this is really more of a time for Aries to be writing down their creative ideas and writing down what they're wanting to do with productive growth, because you've got Mercury in the 3rd sector and Saturn in the 11th sector. So the other thing I didn't mention, which I'm seeing now, is Mercury trine Saturn with the combinations going on. So here we have Mercury, Saturn, and they're making a trine here in the air elements. So this is going to be quite a big time for information coming out. Some sort of it's very straight, direct communication with all that air going on there, and it's also a time for fixing problems, problem solving, or just really nutting out any difficulties or any blockages. I feel like this is the excellent time for clearing up old situations, especially with the karmic energy of the nodes going on, and the Mercury Saturn is sort of serious subjects, looking into things really thoroughly. It's not a sort of light-hearted conversation. It's more a deep and more direct conversation, but a very open and honest conversation to be had as well. So you've got that sitting in your 3rd house and your 11th house, Aries. So this is a perfect place with Mercury in the 3rd, the sector of communication, and Saturn in the 11th, where you're reaching out to the communities and where you can help, or where you can, even if it's relative to friendships, it's a time when you can really be clear about what you're wanting and what you're not wanting in your life. So for the Mars-Pluto energy for Aries, we have the 1st and the 10th being activated. So what I'm talking about is really strong drive going on, this sort of subconscious pull towards change and towards the action that's needed to be taken. For Aries, this is going to be a time where, again, this is going to be in the forefront. You're going to be actively seen to be taking action, with it being in your 1st placement. And with the 10th there, this is all about your bigger picture, your bigger goals and direction that you're wanting to push towards. And Pluto there, you've probably been feeling you don't know quite where this is taking you. It's like you're just trusting that fate is going to take you to the right place, or you're feeling like you're not taking any action, if you're not quite such a believer in fate. But, really it hasn't been in your control, and you've just had to go with the flow with this. But I feel like with Mars, it's like, no, you're going to be able to take action. It's going to come, the unconscious understanding is going to come more into the consciousness, and you're going to go, this is what I want to achieve, this is the place I want to be, and this is what I'm going to work towards. And even if it's a bigger picture, a 2 or 3 year goal, even if it's relative to I'm going to study or I'm going to learn something new, this is the time to be doing it with those combinations going on. So let's have a look at the cards for Aries, because it does look like a very productive time and a reasonably easy time for Aries to move forward, as some of these placements are moving into better sectors for you as far as being able to actively act on them. So like I said, security will be part of the focus. And when I'm saying security, not just the home situation, as in, feeling safe in your home and not and feeling protected in your home. Nobody wants their own space invaded, so to speak. But it's also is about the material as well, and it's through others. So when I say the material, our assets, our property. So interesting when I said at the end here about studies, because it does look like Aries are going to be really seriously thinking of studies. And this is where I think Mars is going to really start to move that Pluto that's been sitting in the 10th sector here into, this is what I'm here to do, this is me, this is the direction I want to go in. So it's looking absolutely fantastic for Aries. There's some very good news coming up for you, which is going to really kick you into passion. And so you've got Mars going through Aries at the moment. Mars is, is the natural ruler of Aries. And so, this has been a time of being able to really act on your instincts anyway. But it's sort of saying, like, now with that Mars being kicked off in Aries and the Pluto in Capricorn, now you can really focus on what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And this is showing here that this is all coming into fruition for Aries over this next month. So what's going to happen here for Aries is a fated connection, fated conversations to connect you up with the right people. And it could be just a conversation, but I feel like you've been sort of in a way protecting your energy, Aries, and may not be feeling like you're quite connecting or relating and not as sociable as you normally would be. And it feels like you've been protecting your energy because you haven't been feeling in alignment with some of the people you've been around. And that's actually allowed you to understand who you are, what your energy needs, so that when you make this connection, it's going to feel good, it's going to lift you up, it's going to feel right. And I really feel like that's what you've sort of been waiting for, is those right connections to come in, unconsciously or unconsciously. What I'm saying is that the right connections and just who you're wanting to share your energy with. But in this circumstance, I feel there's going to be either connection, a conversation, bringing you into new situations. For some areas, that will be some training here, some almost like an apprenticeship situation, or training and learning in a physical way. And for other areas, it's that are more academic. It could be that you're going into studies or completely new areas of learning. But either way, this is completely divinely guided by Spirit here. So really good to see that you're able to act on this productive energy that's going on for you guys. So again, there does seem to be good news about your security and your future. So you're going to be feeling a lot more safer and secure in the future for Aries. And as we've come into this Cancer new moon, because we've got the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And so this is a lot of cardinal energy going off at the moment. And cardinal energy is initiational energy. It's the idea, the spark, the cardinal signs get on with things. Sometimes they don't want to be the ones that do all the hard work. They get to the fixed signs that do that, like Taurus or Scorpio or Leo or Aquarius. They'll put in all the hard slog and make it all happen and bring it all together through their organizational skills. But for the cardinal signs, you're like, yep, let's get this up, let's get the ball rolling. And like I said, this is the month to do it. So there is, like I said, a lot more of a sense of security coming in, and that's where I was going with this Cancer being a cardinal sign, because it's like you're coming into your first quarter, Aries, here, where it's like, now this is all about the home situation, the nurturing what we have, and how we provide for our family, or if it's just for ourselves. There's a situation here for Aries that has felt a bit emotionally draining, and I'm seeing this situation coming to resolve, which is, really good news. It feels like, thank goodness this is over. It's been like a long slog. So I don't know quite what that's about exactly, but for some it will be around family situations or the outer environment. I don't feel it's not directly affecting Aries here. It's sitting more on the outside, and they're just wanting a situation to resolve here. And these cards are saying there's decisions to be made and resolve is coming. So for Aries, like I said, it looks really good. Very, very good news coming in, I feel, over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be, a time when you're going to be developing new skills. You're going to find yourself in a new situation, and it's all coming through these connections. Also means for Aries, they can take more control in their life. And I feel like in a communicational way where you may have been sort of holding back or not really speaking the truth, this is a time when you're going to be very outspoken, and Aries generally don't hold back. But like I said, there's been this energy of suppression around Aries, which I feel is now is breaking away from that, and it's like, now's the time to really step up and to say what you need to say, but remember to consider other people's emotional states as well, because this is a high energy time, like I said, with the Moon, Jupiter, Lilith being activated. We could feel quite defensive around the female principle during this time, and I think any challenges are going to be more relative to the female principle. We were looking at the positive and even the ugly side of the female principle with Lilith going on, but ultimately this is to empower the female principle to release all those negative feelings of not being good enough. So I like the look of that for Aries. So for Taurus, so the Sun Moon is sitting in your third sector, and the third sector is all about how we communicate, how we express ourselves through our skills, through our personal expression, whether that be in communication or in writing. It's a time when writing would be quite a good focus for you. But it also could be a time when you're busy with Taurus, with family members, siblings, sits in the third sector. I also feel like close friendships, sisterhood connections or brotherhood connections is all relative to the third sector as well. So it's a time when you're just going to want hanging out with those that you feel a really strong bond with, and feel like family to you. So this is squaring the Sun Moon squaring Jupiter, which is sitting in your 12th placement, and in the 12th sector is the sector of Pisces. It's the sector of the unconscious or the subconscious, where there's so much going on, but it's all sort of behind the scenes. And with that, this is a great psychic place, Jupiter sitting there. It's also a time when you might be having quite vivid dream experiences, or getting to know yourself at a more deeper psychic level, if you like, and experimenting with that. But I feel with, channeling ability can come through writing for Taurus during this time, because you can express yourself through that third sector. So the expression is easy. Getting the Jupiter or the productive growth, understanding where you're wanting that new productive growth in that 12th sector, could be a bit harder to identify being in that placement, but it could come through your dream states. The other side of it is that Jupiter, it could be a time when you're really looking at your belief system, where you're looking at what you do believe in, and how you feel about the universal energies and how all that works. So that could even be changing for you, or you could be developing a new understanding of a spiritual nature. With the node placement is nice, because like I said, I'm looking at the node because of the house that's in, because that's where the midpoint's sitting. That's where the energy is being focused into, and that's being focused into your first house, Taurus. So with that, that's all about, again, projecting out into, projecting yourself out into the world. It's when anything's sitting in the first, where it's, that's what we're projecting out. That energy of what's in the first is being projected out. So with the node there, it's like lots of people around you, other people are going to be the focus. Family, connections are going to be a very strong focus around the first. It could be a time when new relationships are coming into your life, friendships or personal love relationships. Like I said, this is a time when new people in your environment and new people will be like, where you have these new connections, they're going to be extremely productive, because between those combinations you've got the Sun, Moon, and again Jupiter. So I feel like the connections around you are going to have a deep spiritual connection to you. In other words, soul connections, people that you have spent lifetimes with, where you have this deep understanding, because again with that focus, of the node coming into the first house, and the Jupiter being in the 12th. So with the node Saturn, the square, on the flip side of it, there will be people around you that are around you that you're probably feeling a little bit frustrated with, because they're not necessarily understanding you. And the Saturn is in your 10th house, so that square is sort of feeling like they're not agreeing, or they're not in alignment with your goals or your direction, or where you see yourself. They may not have the same vision as you, but I feel like through again, through patience and through the understanding and through maturity with Saturn, it helps you to understand. They may have more for the practical skills that you're looking for, and be able to give to you in more practical ways for you to reach the goals that you're looking at this time. So with this Mercury trine Saturn, these you've got the 10th and the 2nd house. So I think you might be doing some problem solving, or looking at things a bit deeper with regards to your assets, property, your investments, and again the direction that you want to go in your future. So you may be wanting to speed up, or find solutions on how you can make this work for you relative to building on assets or investments. It's a good productive space, the 2nd and the 10th, for you to be focused on, your future direction, what you already have and what you're wanting for the future. So you're looking at your mortgage being paid off, because this is all about your assets. You'll be sort of going, okay, well, I can have it paid off in this time. Don't give yourself too much of a long time limit. Saturn is sitting in the 10th. It's going to feel like a long haul to get there. But you might be able to, during this time, actually find quicker and easier solutions to get to where you want to be faster, because these are the things you're going to be focused on with that Mercury Saturn. I feel it's also it's also sort of working out, could even be working out problems in the world as well, if Taurus is inclined to be looking at or in that form of professional career. And so with the Pluto, so with the Mars, you've got the 12th and the 9th being activated here, Jupiter in the 12th and Pluto, Mars in the 12th and Pluto in the 9th. And so with that, again, I feel like this is, again, talking about belief systems, philosophy, other cultures, other understandings. I feel like this is going to be a great time for you to connect to, again, more of the spiritual side of things, but more in a practical way of looking at what your beliefs are, what you're wanting to take on and what you don't take on, and where you're wanting to expand in your psychic understanding as well. So quite a strong time for Taurus at a spiritual level in that way. But again, looking at, with that 9th, that is all about where we grow, where we expand as well as the Jupiter. So I feel that's very, very positive for spiritual growth and for deeper understanding, really, of how things work on a much bigger scale. So Taurus, what do we have in store for Taurus for the next month? Well, this is looking good for Taurus because, like I said, the node's in the first house, and I'm seeing the opportunities being brought into your opportunities, or possibly you bringing others into your opportunities with Jupiter sitting there. I'm sorry, with the node sitting there in that first position. So fated time for Taurus to do with connections, and again we've got the soulmate card. So we was talking about soul connections being extremely important during this time for Taurus. It's confirming that. So there is a little bit of a feeling of something not quite working out for Taurus, and that could be the Jupiters are sitting in the 12th, because in the 12th the thing is that it doesn't mean that it's not working out, it just means that we can't quite see it yet. But if Taurus isn't following their passion, it's very important. Taurus are very gifted spiritually and creatively, and if they're not sort of utilizing that, because we can work spiritually as we're creating with our hands. We're putting that energy through our hands into whatever we're making. So if we're cooking a pie and we're putting good energy into that pie, it's a very, very healing pie for people to eat. And that, that goes with anything that's been created, whether it's a necklace, whether it's something, a bit of clothing, whether we're writing a book. This is, all connecting to the higher realms. And saying here that if Taurus has felt disappointed because they haven't been passionate about what they're doing, they're going to move on to other things that are going to be so much more stimulating for them. So there may be a little bit of a concern, thinking that they've got to do more, they've got to work harder to make more money, because they may be concerned about the bigger picture with regards to certain investments. But this is saying not to worry, because this is not a situation that's just a potential here, but it's not a situation that you actually do have to worry about. It's a situation that sort of is fluctuating and changing very quickly, and there is a lot of change going on here. New energies coming in. It's almost like a bit of a shift of energy happening here. So I don't feel concerned about that at all, because it's sort of saying what those worries are not even going to be happening. But there is just the sense of that, of things not feeling quite as secure as they could be. And I think that's sort of normal. I think that's life, and that is the reality. But every now and then we will feel that, and of course then we just have to come into this place of just trusting that we're exactly where we're meant to be, doing exactly what we're meant to be doing. Now, it's a very fated time for Taurus. We have the Wheel of Fortune covering Taurus, so this is about, like I said, making really important connections, but also the situations that are coming in for Taurus, for the Taurians here, to really learn more about who they are and their talents and skills. This is coming up as an exciting time for Taurus to really be thrown into new circumstances quite quickly, to adapt into that, but again for their productive growth. So Taurians are very ingenuitive, they're very much very capable of running their own thing, making their own, utilizing their skills. And it's sort of saying here that but Taurians will be thinking on not a larger business scale, but where they can expand and grow, but again through developing more of their skills and experimenting more with their skills. Like I said, it's a very psychic time for Taurus, and this is being shown here with the Four Swords. It's sort of like a lightning sort of intuition, where it just comes in and zap. It's like a realization, or it's just like when we may hear a word or think of someone's name, and then all of a sudden make a phone call, and then our life's changing because something just told us to make this phone call or to go to this place. That's sort of energy Taurus is in. It's just like trusting these messages that are coming through that are divinely guiding you, because when you've got the Wheel of Fortune covering you, it's a very fated time, and just go with that, because there's going to be some circumstances here that will bring about changes. So it's definitely the node, the point of connections and relationships and friendships and soul connections, all in the first house. It's really indicative here in the cards, bringing you into new directions and new changes. But they're not that. It's not that new. It's not that even that surprising to you, even though it does happen quickly, because these are gifts and talents that you've already been using, but utilizing it to a whole new level. It's like It's almost like getting a leg up. But where you've got step by step with the ladder, it's like going up 10 steps in one go. So it's really bringing you closer to where you're wanting to be. So a lot of forward movement here. Taurians, if they're thinking about moving or relocating, that might be it might be a time to be doing that. But it looks more like information coming through quickly that can organise, that you can plan for, rather than all this fast action going on here. It's more like, with this information, you know what to do, and you know what you're wanting to do to achieve your goals. So again, it's going to kickstart you into building up and having more for your future. So we've got the Justice card here sitting in the environment for Taurus, and I feel like, again, with the environment position here, especially when I'm reading on a collective basis, it's sort of more like what's going on the outside or around you, and it's saying that where things have been out of balance or been unfair, or where you've been affected by injustices even, that things are coming into a much better balance, and that you are coming into a time when you're going to feel more empowered. And I feel like this is going to probably come up more than once in these spreads, to be honest, because I feel like we're all coming into a time of empowerment. There's something about Taurus here and personal empowerment, and I'm not quite seeing it from the placements, but it's sort of saying that I feel like this is coming through others again. This is coming through because it's coming through the environment, so it's not feeling this empowerment directly. It's more like others around you that you're trying to empower will be empowered, will be understanding more. Others that you've been trying to convince will start to really get what you've been talking about. So I just think things are coming back into balance in your life, and that's to do with the outer world, where you've just gone, oh look, that's just all been a bit too hard and I've kept away here. So it sort of means you can get more interactive with people that you really love as well. If you haven't been agreeing on everything. So interesting time for Taurus, with new energies coming in, new realizations, new understandings, new connections, new love, even if you're not in a relationship, because there's going to be new feelings that you really haven't experienced before, and this is can be felt through relationships. And with having that node in the first, it wouldn't surprise me that's going to be in the forefront of your world over the next month, is the connections around you. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Taurians are really truly finding their feet during this time and going, okay, this is what I really want to get on with now. And connections are sort of inspiring, or you're inspiring others to do so. Gemini. So Gemini, you have the Sun, Moon, New Moon conjunction sitting in the second house. So this is the house of security, assets. So that is squaring to your 10th house, your 11th house, Gemini, which is the placement to do with friends and groups, activities, sort of the community at large. And so with Jupiter sitting there for Gemini, this is a time when you could probably expand within the community, or expand into situations where you're seeing, through your ideas as well, how you can create more security for yourself, but through working with within the community or within communities, or you may see what the needs of the community is during this time. So like I said, with Jupiter there, that's where your expansion and growth is going to come from. You may feel more inclined towards wanting to be of service in some way, relative to the two, again, communities, and just being part of, or feeling like you're part of the community. The node sitting in the 12th house, so where we have that connections through others, feels like that's not coming into the fore so much. It's more like people that will be entering into your life in the next cycle. So I feel, as we're moving into August for Gemini, that, it's going to be more obvious, the really positive connections that can bring in productive growth. But I feel this is also a time when you may even, feel more inclined towards spiritual subjects, or working within your psyche, at a deeper level, but this will be in conjunction with others. So, through, it's quite a sociable time here for Gemini, which is good because Geminis like to be out and about and communicating. So, with the node there in the 12th, it's sort of, like it's not an active place for the node to be, but you may be drawn towards spiritual people or spiritual connections, or any area that is more, if you like, of service or helping others, because when I say spiritual, it doesn't have to literally be like a spiritual group. It could be, a relative to people who are just there helping them in the community, but of course that is still a spiritual service. Sometimes we just don't see it that way. The node Saturn is sitting in the 9th and 12th, so where you could feel a little bit of frustration with others and relationships, it might be relative to belief systems, being the 9th and the 12th here, and it could just feel that, you're not really in alignment, or you're getting frustrated because they're not seeing the world the way you see it. Gemini can also feel quite affected with what's going on in the outer world, with Saturn sitting there in the 9th sector. But it's sort of saying that, utilize your ideas, and where you see the problems or where you see what's wrong, write down how you can fix them, because it feels like you can be proactive with this, especially with that Mars-Pluto energy going on. And that is in your 8th and your 11th sector. So interesting, Pluto's been sitting in your 8th, and with Mars there within the 11th, again, you can take that action on what you want to do within communities. If there's anything Gemini is needing to release or let go of or change, they are very good at moving on with having that, being Mercurial and being Gemini, being a mutable sign. But, with it sitting there in the 8th house, this is all about releasing now, with Pluto there and Mars hitting that. It's sort of saying, okay, what do I know what no longer serves me? What do I need to let go of? Where am I frustrated with financial circumstances, being in the 8th, because all my money, the 8th is more about the government's taking the money off you, or the bank owns the house, not you. It's about other people controlling your money, and that could be a bit frustrating for you at that time, where you're wanting to be independent from that. With the Mercury-Saturn trine Gemini, you have it in the 1st and the 9th sector. So, Mercury's in the 1st. So again, like I said, this is a great time for Gemini for communicating. With the 9th house there, it is again a time to be, looking at what's going on wrong with the world. Don't focus on it too much, Gemini, because it will do your head in. But, I really think Gemini, they're very good with solutions and just looking at the situation in a practical way and finding solutions. So, if you're working in those areas where you actually can make a difference, this would be a great time for you to be nutting out that. Otherwise, you could just feel affected by the circumstances going on around you in the world. And also, you could be feeling a bit challenged within your own sense of what your belief is, relative to religion or spirituality. So, in other words, you could be re-looking at that, or just not feeling it. So let's have a look and see what's going on here for Gemini for the month of July. So, Gemini. Well, that Mercury in the 1st is good because we've got leadership qualities around Gemini, but sort of feeling, like they're not getting utilised, or that you're not in the position of where you want to be with your career at this point, because your focus has been on getting the job done, or going in quite deeply, actually researching and looking into things quite deeply. But that's sort of been taking a lot of your time, and you haven't been able to utilise more the managerial skills, organisational skills that you have. So it's sort of saying that it's been out of balance, if you like. Where I feel like it needs to come back into a better balance, because Gemini likes to, of course, be multitasking, and they need to have that balance, so that they can feel they're accomplishing things. So, this looks really good for Gemini, actually. There are a few little issues here. as in just, fears or worries, again, could be around property or security. And I think this is a bit of a common theme as we have Uranus travelling through Taurus, which it has been doing for quite a while now. But, we're at the middle of it now, just past that. And as it's moving up to the node, it's sort of going to be affecting people a lot more, where we're feeling unsettled relative to our sense of security and all those Taurus things to do with property, assets, and so forth. And so, that is going to be a theme and probably come up in many of these spreads. But with this, it's sort of saying that Gemini is very sensitive, psychically quite sensitive, but they can get into, because they are very mercurial, as in Mercury is the mind and the head is like connected to, like, I don't know how many thoughts we have a day, thousands, but the head is connected to all these different channels of information, and so that can bring out fear or concern or worries for Gemini at times. And I feel like the fear or the worry seems to be around our security. Is it all fine and safe? Now, it's sitting in a position showing me that it's what you're fearing is only fear. It's not actually, nothing is coming of this except just a point of feeling like, what is security really? And I think this is a question that we're all going to be asking during this month. What really is security? Because we have this illusion of what it is, but what is it really? How secure are we really? How secure is our situation, our homes, our money in the bank, and so forth? And I feel like this is just why this is coming up for people to process during this time. But again, with Gemini, they're very connected to the psychic side, and that's what I was explaining with Mercury, is that the mind will talk you out of what you know and put you into fear, but then when you connect back into the psyche, and you act on that, it's like it's so much more powerful. And that's what you have going on in the near future. There seems to be the psychic input here, and I think with Gemini here, like I said, you've got the node there in the 12th, and you've got the Pluto in the 8th. This is all sort of quite deep psychic placements where just you can act on that, even though things may not be coming into the physical at this point. You can act on your psyche, and you will, by taking the right actions, you will know exactly what to do. So where there seems to be a concern, it feels like Gemini is actually addressing, like I said, that Mercury Saturn trine there, and then 1st and the 9th, that's in a very positive placement for you to act on that, and to act on, okay, well, what do I believe and where am I going, and putting your focus into that. Now, there's a lot of new energy here for Gemini. It's showing the 2 aces down the bottom here, the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords, with the King of Pentacles, and those 3 cards here indicating a whole new financial level. This King of Pentacles is just saying that you're going to be a lot more secure in the future, and there seems to be a really good input of money through investment. So Gemini that's been making investments, and maybe that's where the 8th house too, because the 8th house is a placement of investments, where there's a lot of speculation within that. And of course, Saturn sitting in the 9th, so again, that's a house of speculation. But, it does look like there's going to be a really good return with investments that allows you to financially have a lot more freedom in the future. And that is what the promise is here for Gemini, is a sum of money which can go towards your future planning for your security. So there could even be new positions of work coming up with that Ace of Pentacles. But I feel either way, there's going to be a new level within finances. So yeah, interesting energies going on. Venus in Gemini and Mercury in Gemini. This is a productive time for Gemini financially. And, as I'm reading the zodiac as I go through, I feel like I'm picking up the energies of the placements, the planets, and the signs. So as I'm reading Gemini, I feel like I'm picking up how's Venus working in Gemini, and how's Mercury working in Gemini right now. So it's sort of, this is still quite a collective thing, even though I'm just focusing on Gemini. But I feel Gemini is very favourable for investments, for building up new security, and for breakthroughs, really, when it comes to things going in your favour, where things have felt like it's all been too hard and that you don't think you can achieve your goals. Gemini's also, there's a little bit of frustration here around family members, or I don't know if it's family or friend. It could even be friendships, but it's like Gemini's are very quick to think they like to get their information across, their ideas across, and not everybody gets that. So the more slower thinking types, and that doesn't make them less intelligent. It just means that they are more slow at processing. Actually means that maybe they can retain more information because they process it more slower. But those types that take a while to digest information, it's like they're not getting quite what you're saying. You could be either talking too fast, being a Gemini, or you could just be, losing them in it, or they just don't quite feel what you're talking about. But what I'm saying is, don't get frustrated. Gemini might want to pull other people on board. They always like to have that twin to work with, or to bounce off, and just don't get frustrated. Just do what you need to do for yourself at this point in time, because everything is going in your favor, saying that you are in charge here, you're the leader of your life, and you can turn it in whatever direction and create it whatever direction you want. And that's the thing with Gemini, that you have a very strong creative energy in that way. And you've got Mercury in the first house here. You're probably wanting to communicate a lot of the stuff and help people, and if they're not taking that on board, I wouldn't worry about it. But it's going to be the people close to you. Talk to a stranger. You probably have more luck with that than the people close to you that you would really like to influence in that way. That could be frustrating you. So I think that Saturn node thing is affecting Gemini there in the 9th and 12th, because it could be also about someone else's belief system is not matching my belief system, and that's okay as well. I feel like whatever you're talking about, Gemini, you are right in what you're saying. There's always more than one truth, but just give it time, because I think that others will get on board or get it. Just not as quickly as you are. So Cancer. So of course Cancer, this whole theme is about Cancer, the sun and the moon. It's all about our ability to nurture. It's all about where we feel safe and secure for Cancer. Cancer is about the home, but it's also about creating our place of protection. Cancer energy is also very fiercely protective and loyal when it comes to family and those they love. It's a nurturing quality, and this is the theme is for all of us to feel safe, secure, nurtured, and also feel financially secure as well, with all of the touring energy going off with the node there. So for Cancer, of course, the sun moon is sitting in the first position, and that is squaring your 10th house. So that's looking extremely productive. It means that, for Cancers, they can be in their true full expression, the sun and the moon together, your inner and your outer expression come together. So, you couldn't get more authentic than when you're in alignment with your inner and your outer expression. And that this is a great time to project it out into your outer world, or your outer environment. It's a perfect time to be heard, seen, and to also initiate any changes that you're wanting during that time. Now, the Jupiter square is sitting in the 10th house, so Jupiter's in the 10th house, and that's squaring the first house, so you've got the first and 10th being activated. So this is how you're projecting out to the environment and what your direct ultimate goals are. So this is a great time for business plans, for expanding on business, but also even if you're looking at the bigger picture on where you're wanting to be in a few years' time and how you can expand and grow. So the focus for Cancer, I feel, is going to be full-on productivity, and also full-on assistance from others. The node and where you will receive help or can be helping others is sitting in the 11th sector, and that's the sector of friendships, connections, and community. So there could be really good friendships that I feel you could be getting involved with or setting up business with, or it could be about developing new connections for expansion and growth and for making new plans. You may be looking at wanting to retire, and you might need the right people in the right place to run things for you so that you can still generate your business. Any situation like that, it's going to be very favourable to be bringing other people in to the situation, but I feel they're going to come through your sort of social network of people. Any Cancers that are working relative to community, this will be a great time to get teams together. Teamwork is going to be very effective during this time, and especially if it's geared around for the bigger picture. And when we're talking about community, I'm talking about people that have that consciousness that, you know, what we can do with others is so much bigger than what we can do by ourselves. So there's some that are really individual thinkers and some people that think more on a community basis. Now, people that get involved within communities don't always think on a community basis, but, you know, they're involved in that. There's some drive towards that. And with Cancer there, it shows that that's sort of where expansion and growth is going to come, where you know, maybe if it's a business that serves the community, you know, and benefits the community, you know, that could be what it is. The Saturn's in the 8th house, so that's sort of a little bit of a hard placement because it could be concerns around our investments, or it could even be concerns, you know, just around, you know, sort of our mortality even. Sort of the 8th sector is all about the cycles of life, death and renewal, and so it is about where we need to release and let go, what we need to end, what we need to let die, and where we're needing this new growth. With Saturn there, you know, Saturn's all about fear, so even fearing of death or concerns over other people could have been relative during that time. Now that's going to be a common theme happening for a while, but with the Mercury there, I think it's going to maybe make, if that is what you've been feeling, make you look at that to realise that this is only a fear and that this is only a transitional period. It's also, you know, it's like working with the unknown, if you like. You know, you've got the Mercury is sitting in the 12th sector, so that is also, again, in a place where things aren't of great clarity. And almost hidden fears that we don't even know. So subconscious fears actually could be coming up for Cancer during this time. But I don't really feel like there's a reason for it except for the placements that have been sitting there. And, you know, even if it's been a health issue going on, I think it's sort of, you know, as you come out of that, you'll find that, well, actually I dealt with a lot of those fears during that time. Pluto is in the 7th, and so with your Mars is the 10th, 7th. Okay, so the Mars-Pluto, the new direction, the new focus, and the strong pull is going to be connecting to partnerships and directions and career for the future. So business partnerships could be addressed during this time and looking at, again, future plans for that. Or it could be to do with relationships or marriage partnerships. But either way, it seems to have a lot to do with career or ultimate goals. So Cancer. So for Cancer, it's talking about communication. Now, Cancers can be good talkers once they get going, but this is more emotional communication, which Cancers, especially Cancer men, can struggle with. The Cancer woman, I don't think it's a problem, but it's not easy for the male principle to be in such a watery, emotional, feminine sign. Because, you know, men are taught not to express their emotions, to, you know, that's a vulnerability. And Cancers can naturally feel vulnerable. That's why they have all this protective energy, all this hard shell around them. So I feel like this is a time when Cancer could, you know, find the opportunity to open up a bit more emotionally, and especially relative to their relationships. So again, where I was picking up with Cancer, you know, the 7th and the 10th being activated, you know, it's really important that you're clear within your communications, within your relationships, and especially within your personal relationships. So there are very good opportunities here for Cancer, you know, connections. Just having a look where that Jupiter is. Yeah, it's in the 10th house. So opportunities to either extend your career to, you know, maybe a promotion or a situation which is giving you more space for yourself, actually, but also more control, more organisation, more utilising your skill set where you can work quietly on your own. Okay, I'm seeing a lot to do with partnership here, but this is sort of about the Cancer skill and their thoroughness and their ability to really connect and their visionary skills on what they want to create. So, you know, Cancers can be extremely practical. And, this is saying that you've got an opportunity here to either upskill or to get a promotion, or if you're in a position of leadership, you may be offering others that you see really have the skills. But either way, you're also very good at picking up what people are, tuning in to an emotional level, getting that feeling. So because you're very sensory, it's all about the moon, you can pick up on people quite easily. So there seems to be some signing of documents here again. So men that are in business with other men, there will be some sort of rearranging around the business, or new business could be building up. But I'm getting this sort of an agreement between two men here. So I think, that could be relative for some Cancers. If you're female, it could be relative that this promotion, this new situations that you're going to be moving into, there could be two men discussing this position for you. Or if you're a male, it could mean that you're being offered a new situation or a better situation, or you're signing some form of contracts or legal documents which sort of say that you have your position of leadership and he has his. So, there does seem to be a lot, again, like I said, around business, especially with that 10th house being emphasised. So there is a new area of learning as well here for Cancer, but I feel like this is more on a personal level than I think on a career-based, though it could be something that you decide. Cancers, I do think, also here, they can be thinking quite a track of what they're wanting to be doing. So this may not have any relevance to your career, but it might be like, oh, what would I like to do in 5 years' time? And I'll start learning about this. So there does seem to be some new interests that Cancers are sort of, really looking at learning. But also there could be opportunities to go into some form of training, like I saw for Aries, which is interesting. So the other cardinal sign, where I saw them, Aries, going into some form of like apprenticeship or training. I'm seeing a similar thoughts around Cancer. It's not saying they're definitely going to do that, but they are going to be thinking about it. So again, we've got a really productive time for business and to move forward with the ideas. The sign of Cancer sort of relates with business. It can relate to anything relative to the moon. So that could be like cafes, hospitality. It could be in clothing. It could be, in the food industries. But it feels like, those sorts of nurturing type industries could be relative to nursing, could be relative to looking after animals. But any form of nurturing, business, it sort of does need a lot of organisation as well. When I say nurturing, of course, hospitality really does come into that. Food is very the ultimate nurturer. It looks like there's a lot of action going on there. It looks like there's a lot of plans and organisation. So, it does look like there's going to be quite a big expansion and growth for business of that type of nature. So for the outcome here for Cancer, we have there seems to be this desire. I'm getting there's a bit of a struggle within the communication, and maybe it's because some people are just refusing to listen. Maybe some are being difficult. I'm not saying that it's all coming from Cancer. It could be that you're dealing with a difficult person here. What was it? Yeah, Pluto in the 7th house. So your partners could be like, really very adamant about what they're not taking on board. Cancer's trying to bring everyone together. It's trying to heal, or to not even heal, but to clear rifts that have been going on relative to connections. So whether it's say there's a teamwork and there's someone's not fitting in the team, it's like sitting everyone down and just going, what's going on here within the team. Or say it's family and somebody, there's been a conflict here. This is sort of Cancer's really feeling like they're just wanting to heal conflict. And I feel that if you really are wanting to heal certain conflicts there in your life, Cancer, you can do it. And even if other people are standing in your way because of their own opinions, I feel like you're just going to move forward with it. You're not going to feel emotionally pulled one way or another. Because Cancers are so emotionally driven, they You know, they don't like confrontation. They're wanting to keep everybody happy. And so if somebody's saying, no, 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 someone of a more fiery nature is standing in the way and saying, no, we don't want this to happen, I feel like Cancer's just going to push through with this sort of Mars energy going on, this Mars Pluto energy going on here. They're just going to push through and say, no, I'm not being held back anymore. I'm moving into the direction that I'm wanting to go in, or I'm creating this situation, or I'm bringing all the family together or the team together, you know. So it's sort of about Cancer trying to keep everybody happy, and where there's been a little bit of conflict there. But this is the time to take the action to bring things back together again if they felt a bit disjointed. The other thing I've got to mention here is Cancer looks like you're having a nice little holiday at the moment, or having a break, or some time out. So maybe you're not having that yet. This could be over this, it would sort of be now or over the next week. If you are having a bit of a break or a holiday, sort of saying just take some time out for yourself right now. It's going to be quite a busy time here for Cancer, but it's very productive and it's looking really good. And I think the main message in here for Cancer is you can't keep everybody happy. And I think you're going to not try to anymore, because that's not going to work for you or for the bigger group at large, so to speak, whether that's the family or the team. So Leo, your sun moon is, of course, for Leo, it's sitting in the 12th position, and so, you know, that will naturally be there until it moves into the first position in July, when we get the new moon in Leo. So while it's sitting in the 12th, this is what happens when we're the sign after the sign that's just happening. You know, where everything's sort of in the dark, and as it comes into we come into our own zodiac sign, things start to come into the light. So at the moment, Leo's probably sitting back a little bit quietly. I like Leo, and you know, more internalizing this whole process of the sun and the moon together, of our inner and outer world. So rather than it being a projected thing where, like with Cancer, you're going to come out and just go, right, that's it, you know, this is what we're doing. Leo's going to be sort of keeping that behind the scenes, because they're not quite sure. They've got to work it out. But there's an inner something brewing up there with Leo for changes. So the square to Jupiter, so Jupiter's in the 9th placement. So Leo, like the other one, which was 12 and 9, which was Taurus, you know, like Taurus, Leo are actually going to go through this whole process of their belief system, but it's going to come in a much stronger way, because you've got the Sun, Moon squaring Jupiter, which is all about our belief system. It's all about our, you know, the way we see the world, the bigger picture, you know, what's really going on. And with that, you've got, you know, for Leo, it's like they're really going to be feeling challenged, and what do I believe in, or what do I connect with, whether that's culture, whether that's belief system, whether that's just wanting to connect and travel more. You know, that does look like actually for Leo this is going to be a good time for travel. But I feel like this is where your productivity is coming from. It's coming from those sectors, from the 9th and the 12th. So again, these are the more spiritually attuned placements, but they're the bigger picture placements of getting and understanding the world outside ourselves. So that's going to be quite a good one for Leo there. The node where you have the good fortune, the good connections, the right people in the right place sort of thing, that's sitting in your 10th place, your place of your ultimate goals. So that's fantastic for Leo for moving forward. So where this is good fortune, good connections, it's going to come in through your career possibly, or change your career in some way. So it's going to be a bit of a lift up there for Leo relative to their career. And it's a time when, you know, they could get a promotion, or they could just decide through making the right connections and the right timing that there's something bigger they're wanting to do for their future. The focus will be on their bigger picture and their future, with that Sun, Moon, Jupiter node going on there. So for Leo, you've had Saturn sitting in the 7th house, so that could be a bit of a struggle for partnerships. You know, but it's also teaching you a lot about responsibility and loyalty. And I feel like, you know, if you're getting through that, if you haven't over this period of time separated because relationships weren't quite right, you know, and you're still hanging in there, you know, you will get through this, and it will, like I feel, give you a even stronger connection, a stronger sense of loyalty and of commitment. So the Mars Pluto is the 6th and 9th. So again, you know, your placement of work and daily routine. So there is going to be a real pull towards I think a bigger picture for your career. So let's have a look. It's also a really social time. You've got Mercury in the 11th house, so that's when you kind of feel like connecting up with friends. And Leo likes to be sociable, likes to connect with friendships, and likes to be really sort of helping in the community, or connecting up with others and feeling of value in the community. And you know, so that's a really good time to be doing things relative to that Mercury there. So yes, Leo, you are going to be thinking about what your true goals are, what your belief systems are, and again, where you really want to be with career. So again, you know, we have similar themes going on here for this month. Issues around, not issues even, just wanting to build up more security for your future. It doesn't look like, you know, there is the devil down the bottom here where you've got some fears going on about money or regular money. So we're talking about your weekly income. Whether you make a change into a new situation that's going to be so much more empowering, you know, whether you let go of what you've already got, because there's a bit of a fear around letting go, but you know, stepping into the situation where you're going to feel a lot more utilised and a lot more connected. Like I said, so you know, it's important for Leo to, you know, their friends are really important to them, their social network's important, their connections, and it's going to be a very active time socially, but also a time when I feel like you're going to be getting together within teams. And interesting, because we've got Mercury in the 11th house, where I feel, you know, again, that's relative to community and teamwork. But again, you're communicating here within teams in your work position, and I think you're sort of going to be getting a lot more work satisfaction than what you've been feeling in the past. I also feel that this is where you're going to truly shine, Leo, even though I feel like that's going to happen more so when we come into the sign of Leo, but there does seem to be extending your skills, either training up others or you doing some new training. So this is an upskilling time because you've got some plan for the bigger picture for that. So if you're training other people, it's because you're, you know, moving on and you can't be doing this anymore, or you're already upskilling, or you might be doing both, upskilling to move into this new situation. But it's all relevant around teamwork. It's not a situation where I see Leo sitting on their own and working on their own, as much as I see them networking, working with groups of people, and even if you do work on your own, I feel like your networking, your connections with others is going to create a lot more growth. If you offer a service, Leo, you're going to be extremely busy with people coming into your space. If you work with your communication, Leo, you're going to be really, really busy as well. If you're, you know, any areas where you are able to get your messages across is going to be really emphasised. So this is a great time to get out your ideas and get out your messages. So there is, I think Leos have quite high ideals. They're quite romantic in some ways, and I feel like they have sometimes high expectations or high ideals, but not in a elusive way, as an unrealistic way, but there's just their ideal, and so it's almost like they can set up a situation. The thing with Leo is that they see how they want it. So say they've got a dinner party on and they see everything, they've got everything organised, everything's perfect, it's going to be so entertaining. Everybody's got to be here at 6 on the dot, you know, that's Leo. You know, and then 6 o'clock comes and people haven't turned up, you know, and they could just want to throw the towel in, because, I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but my point is that Leo sets it up to look a certain way, and when it's not happening quite that way, or they've got to be a bit adaptable, this is can be quite annoying to Leo. This is when I feel like that's when they're being a bit unrealistic, or having, that's when they're having the high expectations because they've already set it up on how it should look. So with that is a skill that you have, Leo. It's like, organise an event, organise a wedding, organise something where you can have it looking as beautiful, and utilize your energy within your organizational skills. But not everybody can play along to these rules, or they may make changes in your plans, and that's not really how Leo works, because no, it was all organized and you're upsetting the organization of it. So my point with that is, something might be thrown here at Leo where they're feeling a bit disappointed in somebody because it's not the way they had imagined, but there's something to do with money. It's something to do with the sum of money, but I just feel like, again, I don't think this is going to be a big issue. I think it's just like, this doesn't mean that you can't move forward with what you want to do. This is a time for Leo to be developing new skills, like a lot of the other signs actually. It seems to be predominantly coming up. And you're going to be doing that regardless. This is not going to stop anything. So this could be a little issue there that you think, it's a bit of a thorn in your side, or it's not quite working out, or I had the money for this and now you've gone and put it into that and it was planned for this. So like I said, it feels like the plans aren't quite going as I'd imagined. But like I said, it's not really a biggie. To be honest, Leo's looking quite free and easy this month. I think it's probably quite good having some 12th house stuff going on, because it takes a bit of responsibility off them and gives them a bit of a break, where they don't have to worry about everything and organise everything. There does seem to be, Leo will be looking at how they can have more freedom in their life, how they can have more motivation in their life, almost the two together, because they like to be physical, they like to be active, but they like to have the freedom to move. So, it's not, they're hard workers, but let me do it my way. And that's what I feel, is that you're getting the opportunity more to do it your way. So again, new learning here. Keep getting these learning cards coming up, again, of a practical nature, so upskilling and training for others. So it looks like a really good time for Leo. Like I said, there's a little bit of a worry about money, and it's almost like it feels more like to do with other people's actions rather than actually circumstances. But I feel like that's something that could be corrected quite quickly, and that it's not actually a big issue. And, it's not showing that you've got any issues here. It's showing that you've got a whole lot of new connections coming in, good friendships, and really good working circumstances with others. So good teamwork is really the theme for Leo for this month. And it does mean Leo can relax a bit more, because, like I said, they're very organised and very efficient, but they're sort of showing Leo in their more emotional state where they can just relax a bit more and enjoy some Leo time while things are in the 12th house before it gets too busy. So Virgo, the sun moon position, the new moon is sitting in your 11th position, the position of team work, the position of new connections, new friendships, or the position of friendships, I should say. But with the sun moon being initiation energy, I would say that this is initiating changes around that sector for you. So your 11th house, which is not just about new friendships and connections, it's also about working within the community, or working for like a bigger picture at large, working in some form of service to humanity. So it's squaring your 8th house, Virgo. I am looking at Virgo. Squaring your 8th house, and that could be bit frustrating having Jupiter sitting there, because as much as it's, we've got this productive energy going on in Aries, it's sitting in your 8th sector, and that's sort of like what isn't productive. The focus isn't what is productive, it's been what isn't productive. But that's a good place to start, because if you work out what isn't productive, you can always find what is productive. But I feel it's been a cutting away, a letting go of time. You can expand through releasing and letting go during this time. The node is in your 9th sector, so the growth, the opportunities, the good connections are coming through. People with similar beliefs and similar understandings. This could be coming through foreign energy, or people to do with overseas. Could be a good time to be connecting with people overseas with the node there in the 9th sector. So, you could suddenly hear from someone from the past that's overseas, or make new connections to do with overseas as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be overseas. It could just be people in just whole different environments, but generally the Knight's position talks a lot, just turn these cards around the wrong way, talks a lot about, you know, foreign cultures and you know, other belief systems or our own personal belief systems. So for Virgo, you know, you could meet up or make connections to people that have quite different understandings in you that you may be quite interested in at that time as you're expanding your own understanding. So this the Mars Pluto is 5th and 8th, so sort of the Mars is in quite a creative space for you, and it's again where you're feeling a pull towards you clearing out and letting go of the old and moving into the new. And you know, this is a very indicative time for Virgo to be moving into a whole new cycle, actually, with those two being activated. And it feels like the timing is now to really move forward and to a much more productive time. So the problem solving, Mercury, Saturn, or the looking into things thoroughly, sitting in your place the 10th and the 6th, both placements of work. So work, of course, has its challenges. There could be new areas of learning, lots of information to be taking on board, but it's in the perfect placements for you to be, you know, in your place of career and your place of your ultimate goals and direction and where you see your career taking you. So Virgo. Yeah, so Virgo is making changes. You've got the Death card, Strength card, and you know it's about trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, trusting what you feel, not what you think, and making those changes for the right reasons with the Strength card. So it's been tumultuous time, and you know Virgo has had in the 6th, Saturn sitting in the 6th house, the house of work for a while now, the sector of work, and that's been quite hard going. You've got the Tower sitting here in the recent past, so it's sort of saying that things have been really stressful, but it's time of change, it's time to break free and to move into what's right for you, to what's going to be a lot happier for you. And I think Virgos have had to be on the defence a little bit in the past, and so now they can let their guards down and relax a bit more and enjoy the company of the people that they actually trust and know aren't when I say trust, you know, trust with their emotional state, because it's all about the opening up. Virgo's going through a bit of a heart expansion or heart opening up, but it's like they've had to be protecting themselves, I feel, for some reason. Probably because you've had that Saturn there in your daily routine and work, so that's sort of encountering this harder energy of Saturn on a daily level, and that can get quite tiresome. But, you know, for Virgo, the men and the women, it's saying that you're stepping into your true leadership roles. You're stepping into your positions that you're designed for. You've had to make this decision, of course. It's sitting there for you, and it's saying it's in a placement where we have to take it, and also there's a decision around that, so we also have to make the decision. So it's not quite defined. If you make that decision to step into your true empowerment, you're going to be able to open to let down those guards and to open up your heart and to feel a lot more, because it's all been very much about the mind and getting the job done, but not connecting into your emotions as much as it could be, where this is a new cycle coming up where you can connect into your feelings, where you can develop stronger bonds with people without feeling like you need to protect yourself. So very good news about work change, good connections to be made in new positions of work. There, if you're, you know, you could get a promotion, you could be happy in your position where you are right now, but it feels like there is a bit of a lift up here, where someone will be communicating with you and saying, you know, look, we really feel you're very specialised in a certain area. Can you be in this position for us? So I would say for Virgo, some of their work situations or positions are still sort of forming or changing. Even ones that are in new situations, they're still sort of forming as you go, as you're getting to connect with the people around you in your new situations. But I do feel like new energies around you, and new things and new situations. But I feel like it's pretty easy. Like it's not necessarily new learning, it's more like just unfamiliar situations, situations that you're just having to familiarize yourself with. So you might find that your environment is changing, even if you're still in the same, working for the same company or still for yourself. You'll be stretching out to new environments and connecting up with new people. I think Virgo's gone through a bit of a tough lesson of doing things for themselves, learning to look after themselves, learning to not give everything to the boss, so to speak, or to to the leader, whoever this King of Swords is in your cards, and being rewarded by actually just seeing their own, by empowering themselves through seeing, to keeping their power rather than giving their power away. Now, how do I explain that? In situations where Virgo would normally take something, a situation, say personally, they're giving their power away. But instead of taking that situation personally, you take your power back by saying, well, actually, no, this is actually how I see it. You're actually taking your power back again. So sort of, I feel like it's relative to speaking up, to speaking your mind, and to not let others that, are very good at speaking their mind overtake or dictate to you how it is when I feel like that's not being reciprocated. So in other words, it's about you not seeing anyone's above you. It's about you seeing that you are all equal and that you all have something to offer and that you are just as important as the next person. So when Virgo don't feel they're more important than the next person, they underestimate themselves. And I feel like this has just been the challenge, is to actually see your true worth during this time. Also a really nice time for Virgo to be connecting up with friends and family members, and especially those that aren't local to them, doing a little bit of travel and hanging out with what I call sisterhood or brotherhood connections. And there seems to be a new opening here for Virgo to look at, like I said, Virgo's showing here, Virgo's protecting their heart. Now, I'm not saying all Virgos are over defensive or protective, but maybe it's because you had the Tower here in the past, and this is a general reading, for all Virgos, that one way or another, there's been like really some hard stuff that went on, and because Virgos are very wanting to please others and are very sensitive, it's like, well, I've had to protect myself, and no, I can't. They could be being defensive, where it's like, just trust. Not everybody has bad intentions. Not everybody is going to be a negative experience. And what I'm saying is new connections, trusting in the new connections that you're making and allowing you to share with others is going to be really valuable during this time, because it does, it's like Virgos are being encouraged to open up, to be able to keep their own energy, to protect themselves, but to also be open-hearted, to stay strong, to stand in their truth, to not be beaten down by words or thoughts. But I feel like that's because they're coming into an expansive time, a time when they will step out into this newer understanding of who they truly are. Now, that's sort of not right now. That's sort of coming for further down the track, probably months away. But it feels like, you Virgos have got a real special time coming up in a few months' time, where I feel like you're going to really see your worth. And you're really going to get, because when you see your worth, everyone else sees it around you. But when you don't see it, no one else sees it, and then that can affect how you're feeling, if you're feeling like you're feeling underappreciated. So it's very important for Virgos to understand they need to love themselves more. They need to take on the lessons of Leo. There's nothing wrong with thinking you're great and you're very good, and nothing wrong with saying I've done a good job. But don't expect others to say it. If you expect that, then that's not going to happen. But if you say it yourself, if you know it yourself, others will say it. And you can guarantee others only say it when you don't actually care anymore, when you don't need to hear it, because you actually know you have done a fantastic job. So, like, I feel that for Virgos, you're really stepping into your power. You're thinking about your future more, and you're really going to start to open up to a lot more emotional connection with others as well. Which looks fantastic. Just have to pick up a card I dropped. Okay, so Libra. And so Libra, the Sun Moon is sitting in your 10th house, your 10th sector. And so the focus for Libra is going to be about, what's my bigger picture? What's my goals? Where's my career taking me? Is this where I want to go ultimately? The Jupiter square is sitting in the 7th house, so connections to partnerships is going to be really important. That's where your expansion and growth can come through partnerships or relationships. Or when I say all relationships, I mean love relationships. But also the 7th is also about business partnerships. And the node, where you have the fortunate connections coming in to really bring in expansion and growth, that's sitting in your 8th sector of what you need to clear and let go of. So let's see, 10, 7, 8. So yeah, the feeling is that 3 partnerships, and you really see where your goals and direction is, but it will also show you what you need to let go of or what you need to change. So it may be like you've got a whole new plan coming up here, and that you're sort of ready to let go of situations that aren't working, and that could even be about it could be business, could be investments, or it could even be relationships or partnerships as well. But I don't feel it's so much partnerships. I feel it's more family situations that you might be actually understanding yourself better through. So your the Mars Pluto, we've got the 4th and sorry, where am I? Libra. The 4th and the 7th. So that's all about your home and your relationships. So I think there's going to be some sort of quite definitive things here for Libra, because these are really strong houses that are going on for your 4th, your home, your relationships, and your career, your 10th. They're the 3 strong houses, and the other one's the 1st. So there's going to be a lot about your security, about your property, about the people that you're living around, and even family members as well. So let's have a look what Libra can expect. Yeah, okay. So for Libra, we have, a lot to do with security, the bigger picture of security. So I have a card here that represents like the mortgage. It's like once you've got your mortgage paid card sort of things. So it's a 10 of Pentacles, and I see this as your security, sort of the mortgage is paid and everything is secure. And this is just worrying about it. Am I going to get this mortgage paid? Am I going to be able to have the security I'm wanting? And, with that sort of combination with Libra, when I said about the 8th, they may even be thinking like whether they're having to, whether they're sharing property with somebody else, and should I sell it? Should we divide it up? Should we just keep it and try to keep going with it? And even if they're not like in a relationship, you know what I mean, or doing a settlement, it may work out better to keep it for a bit longer or to sell it right now. But these could be the things that Libra's thinking about during this time, is definitely to do with your future security, as well as what you're sharing with others. So Libra, they've got quite innovative. They're quite a unique sign in lots of ways, and they've got quite innovative ideas. And I think they like to physically be active as well, generally, sporty sort of, but they like the freedom of movement, and I just feel there's some outdoor activities going on here for Libra. It's like working outdoors or getting on with some particular project that they want to do, which is very much, I think, going to be their own personal project. But it's about having that freedom. They like to travel and they like to have that freedom of movement. That looks like that's all happening here for Libra. I think Libra's been going through a bit of a process, actually, probably with this node situation in the 8th and Pluto in the 4th. Yeah, it could be Pluto in the 4th too. So Pluto in the 4th, like I said, the home situation, the security of Pluto there, it feels like someone's going to take that off you. And that, of course, that's not even relevant, but what it would mean is that you're not feeling you have that control in your life relative to the home situation that you will have as things start to move on. But there does seem to be some decisions. I love it when Libra has to make decisions, because it's not really their best strength, because it's made more than once, or I've made that decision, but then I've got to look at this side of it, so they can struggle. I mean, they can be really good at making big decisions, and sometimes that struggle is really just simple ones, or it can sometimes be the other way around. But decisions is their thing, And indecisiveness is part of that. But that doesn't mean that they're not good at making decisions. It just means that it's something that they are learning about, that they're working with, that is really important to them. So maybe they take more time and care into making decisions. But something comes up quite quickly. So Libra's got to make a quick decision, and Libra's actually quite good at that. There is that, Uranus energy with Libra, which is the esoteric ruler of Libra. And so that makes, them quite sort of, living life on the edge sometimes, or extreme sometimes. They can go to extremes. But it just feels like, it's a Uranus energy. It just comes in quickly, and they've got to make a decision, and it's about either money or career, and they make it quite quickly, and it does look like it's the right thing. So that's all looking fine. But I feel like Libra's been through this process of learning about, like I said, who they are and where their values sit, what's really important. Because we've got sort of investments here, and, not sure, worried about the security for the future, but at the same time, do they really care? Like they're ruled by Venus, and Venus is about love and money, and they are really good with money, but it's like they're not going to put everything into that. They want the money, of course. They want to have the security. They love the leisures. They love the all the things you can buy with money, but it feels like Libra's been going through a bit of a process of that's not so important anymore. I don't know quite what that's about. I think it's a good place to be when you feel like you don't need to have anything. You have everything you need, and it's sort of that feeling of actually the universe provides me everything I need. So, the other side of that is that we go through struggles to bring us to this place, as in financially, we have to be satisfied with what we've got because we're not making a lot, or we're just making ends meet. But it's a time when we actually realise we don't need so much. When we go through those sorts of hardships, we come out of that, with a lot more abundance. But then we go, well, gee, I don't even want all these things I wanted before I went through that process, because I really realised they don't have a lot of importance. So, like I said, there's a whole new sort of level of where their values are sitting. So Libra seems to be focusing on that. And I'd say that's to do with Venus position, which I haven't put on my little chart here, but because Venus is in Gemini, and it would be sitting in the 6th, 7th, 8th, the 8th house. Okay, so that's why. So Venus has been sitting in the 8th, so that's where the concerns around the money's been. So for Libra, there seems to be an opportunity here to clear a lot of past situations that have been quite difficult. It's like, the Libras also, they've quite tuned in spiritually, psychically, and there's just a sense of feeling like something's not right, something's up here, something's not quite working out how we thought it would be. And they're going to come into this space where they're needing to they're searching for some more clarity on what is going on, because I feel like they've been in a bit of a fog and they're coming into a much more productive space. There's some sort of divine intervention here for Libra, which is going to clear out what you no longer need, what you're needing to let go of. There's a node again in the 8th house if it needs to be relationship, or if it just needs to be getting away from certain connections or making changes around family situations. But see, Libras like to be quite independent as well. And it's sort of saying that there are some certain patterns, family patterns, that I feel like are going to come up to the fore for you to recognise, to free your soul, so that you can truly express yourself and truly move into your true power. So for Libra, that's not quite determined or quite clear what that is. If anything, it's more of a deeper inner search going on for Libra here. And I think for any Libras that are just working for the dollar, and of course, like I said, they're ruled by Venus, they like money, they're not going to not work, but again, they have certain skills that are just needing to be recognised, and if they're not in those positions of work that they're happy with, they're not going to be able to pretend anymore that they are. Libras aren't even good at pretending that. They're pretty straight up and honest, really, but they do have a cordial, nice personality, nature, that will, everything's fine, everything's lovely. But, deep down there's an Aquarian, a Uranian energy that actually wants to go, no, it's all shit, actually. And some will be very straight up about that. But what I'm saying here is that, Libras won't be held down. They won't be in the wrong situations for long. Any Libras that are in situations that are needing to change, and they've been in there, been just plodding along in a placid way, that's not truly who they are. And I feel like this is going to be a bit of a wake-up call for Libra, to really address the emotions, to really address what's right for them. But it's coming in a very fated way. When you've got three major arcana cards, you've got the Moon, the Justice, and the Wheel of Fortune. It's sort of saying that where the patterns have been repeating, it's clearing. This is going to just clear. It's just going to clear through karmic situations, and it's going to bring things back into balance again. So this is a good time for Libra to really be able to come into their true power of who they are, to step into their true power, their passion, their ability to manifest their own thing. I think Libra, they like to be unique. They like to actually be doing their own thing. They probably would prefer to either be, working with investments or running their own business, just being full in charge of their situation. And I feel that any that aren't are going to be looking at that, unless you're really happy in what you're doing. But if you're not happy, if you're not feeling, if you're feeling like you're not being true to your true nature or to who you truly are, or you're not getting to exercise or utilize your skills, something's just going to happen that's going to go bang, and it's going to set you all off in a very, very creative space, because Libra is a very creative sign, but it's their ability to tune in as well. It's these sort of spiritual skills that they have as much as their creative skills that work together. So even if it's the ability in art, it's coming through this divine energy, or music, it's coming through this divine energy, but it's saying that you're going to be connecting more to more vibrational energy in the future, not over this next month. This next month is getting you to feel more connected to your soul and feel more connected to the higher realms, which is where you can truly create and express yourself. Scorpio. So Scorpio, you have the sun moon. This new moon is sitting in the 9th position for you. So for Scorpio, this could be a good time for travel, a good time to extend your understanding, again, belief systems. It could be where you're looking for where am I going to be able to expand and grow. The square is going to your 6th placement, your 6th sector, which is your place of work and health, as well as your daily routines. So, this is sort of saying, where can I expand and grow in my work situation, in my daily work. And the fortunate connection, or the way things are going to change, is going to be through people, and it's coming through very strong relationships, personal relationships to you. So the node's sitting in the 7th position for Scorpio. So this is a great time for relationships. If you're on your own, it's possibly a time when new relationships can come in. Otherwise, if you're in a relationship, it's going to be, the focus is going to be on your connection. So I would say, like, new opportunities can come through connections, through relationships, through partnering up, and that could even change your career. Your partners could be responsible for changing career or opening up new doors for you. Saturn's been sitting in the 4th, which is sort of a bit hard in the home situation, because it sort of feels a bit restless, and you're just really wanting to feel secure. And with the Mercury there, it's sitting in the 8th position, so that's sort of, again, I feel like you're coming to the end of a cycle to do with property or home, or feeling like you've had to protect yourself, or just wanting to have more sense of security and feeling like that can't be taken off you. So it sort of feels like more wanting ownership, or more just wanting to feel secure coming in there. And ways to solve those problems, if you like, solutions, they're going to come up for you during this time, of what you're, the ways that you can actually feel a lot more secure in your own situations. Pluto is in that 3rd position of communication, and that's hitting the Mars in the 6th. So you've got 6th house, 6 and 3 going on for Scorpio there with Mars Pluto. So your drive is towards working really hard. It's going to be a very hard working month for Scorpio. And within the 3rd, I feel like, again, good connections can also come through that 3rd house, where that can be friendships, siblings, that, again, like I said, like sisterhood connections. So the people that you consider to be like family to you. So Scorpio. Looks like a really nice time for relationships again, confirming those house positions for Scorpio, because, you know, you've got the sun covering you, and this emotional connection here, and new love, new energies of love coming in, new friendships as well. So, you know, if you're in a relationship, like I said, this is a time to be expressing the love that you have. But there is a whole new level coming in here relative to friendships and connections. So even new friendships here are going to be really important. So it's a time to be connecting up with family, or to feel like, again, though, you know, around those that feel like family members. So it doesn't have to literally be our family. But, you know, this is a great, inspiring time for Scorpio to get creative, to they're going to feel really motivated. There's something like a spark going off here that's going to really kick Scorpio into gear and make them want to really move forward with new ideas, new skills, and new creative energy. So, you know, whichever way you want to utilize that, it's going to be productive. It's going to be relevant in your careers, I feel, because it's not just about talents and just utilizing it for your own personal reasons. It sort of feels like there's great results, or you've got success around this. So it feels like these new plans, ideas, and goals or directions are going to be very successful, and that this is about to come in. It hasn't come in yet, but it's about to come in, which is going to give you a really strong focus for what you're wanting. Really like the look of these cards here, because everything is just flowing with ease here for Scorpio. There's going to be some communication in the near future, very near future, which I think is going to set off what I'm talking about relative to new plans and direction. So again, this is going to come through others. I'm just getting a reminder here. Yeah, the node was in the 7th house, so again, that interrelationship connection. So, you know, it's a great time to be around others, a great time to be socializing. There's going to be a lot of help and assistance coming through others, but mainly soul family. The people you've already bonded with, even though there are new connections coming up as well. Now, new connections take time to establish, and Scorpio aren't. It's not the most trusting sign, but at the same time, I feel like you're going to be very open and ready for these changes that are coming up here. And really good productive level coming in for your own business and career. And this is how you see it should be, as in it's a lot to do with your own intuition and your own connection or your own understanding. So here, in the mind, you've got the new work, the new financial situation, the High Priestess. She's you connecting into your psychic energy, whether you're male or female. And then you've got the Empress here. So these are very powerful cards of female principle, actually, because you've got the business female energy of, you know, to me, the Empress, she's like the Earth, you know, planet Earth. She's nature. She connects in. She's productive. She knows what productivity is. She's pregnant, in fact. And so this is about being pregnant with new ideas and new information. If a Scorpio is trying to get pregnant, this could be a fantastic time for planting the seed. But otherwise, it's going to be, you know, at a higher level through this wise woman here of what's really a really good idea of service for humanity, or for people, or for whatever, that it's going to be, like I said, of a service. It's going to be very helpful. Scorpios also have quite a natural healing skill, and, you know, this is sort of saying that, you know, you're always there to help others, and it's important that you let others help you as well. You know, this is just the way things work with you. When you're there for others, others will be there for you, so you don't need to feel indebted there. You know, but it's sort of saying that you've been in a bit of a struggle where it's been hard to do things on your own, but this is where you can incorporate others, and you can actually financially start to pick up, as well as, or even emotionally pick up if you've been emotionally down or physically not feeling well. It does feel like there's a lot of healing going on around you at this point in time. And also you give out to others that need healing as well. So it's important that you allow yourself to receive. So there seems to be a balancing thing coming in, where you may, I don't know if you've been really busy with people, or you're getting busy with people, but it's showing an extremely busy month with regards to groups and activities and people. It's also saying that you're going to be getting on board with others for particular projects that I feel is sort of very legitimate projects. When I say legitimate, I can see lots of paperwork and documents with these projects, and that looks really exciting as well. But I think the main thing here for Scorpio is this new energy of love, this new heart expansion. It's going to be felt for the male and the female principle here, all to do with connections. And it's saying that this is going to come in quite quickly, and there's going to be a lot of love and generosity and openness with this. But it's going to be building up over time. So it's like, Scorpio, don't rush in madly anyway. Just sort of saying that your heart's going to be expanding, and then you're going to be doing the Scorpio thing of, I have to give this time and get to know this person. You've already fallen in love. You've already made the connection. So it's really strong and it's really sparked you. But I think what you're needing to do is just spend a little bit of time to make sure that those feelings stay, that they're not going to change or go. And you see, we are in this Uranus node energy, and I just want to mention now that on the 1st of August we have the Mars Uranus node all coming exactly conjunct into Taurus, and so that's going to be like, we're building up to this pinnacle time. That's going to be major changes for relationships, major new action for teamwork and for people getting on with things, and they're going to be doing it quite quickly and moving forward quite quickly. And so, I really feel that Scorpio is going to be involved in that in some way or another. And I guess it's because we've got it all in Taurus, Scorpio axis. So your twins and Scorpios will be very, really be feeling this. So this is the preparation. This is bringing in the new people that's going to make this happen. It's exciting. Sagittarius. So, Saggy, you've got this Sun Moon that's sitting in the 8th sector, and the 8th sector is sort of, again, it's about letting go of what you no longer need. It's about, understanding the cycles of life, death, renewal, and or vice versa. So it's really about understanding that everything goes through cycles, the 8th position. Everything has its lifespan, and that as we go through the next cycle, we go through a whole renewal stage and we come into a whole new time. So for Scorpio, that Sun Moon is, for Sagittarius, that Sun Moon is, sitting in that 8th position. So I guess for Sag, it's going to be about, what are they sort of wanting to end or clear? What are they wanting to do for the future? It's only like I said, it's only in that 8th position for the month, and then it's going to be going into the 7th. So after that, they're going to know much more clarity. But while it's going through that, the concerns are going to be more about, what are they wanting to end rather than what are they wanting to build up on. Now, the square is to the 5th position, and that's all about entertainment and enjoyment and children as well. So, Sagittarius may have been overly concerned about children during this time. But I feel that, there's actually going to be some good news around anyone you've been worrying about during this time. And then it looks like that, the good fortune, the node connections coming through the 6th position. So that's going to be, again, about work and placement of work. So for Sagittarius, to sort of sum it up, I feel like you could be, really strongly looking at where you're expending your energy, what you no longer want to be doing, what you, where you want to put your energy in the future, where you've been tied up or busy with family and children, but also what you wanted to do with your career. So, all these areas are going to get a really strong look at. And I feel like, through talking with your partner and really communicating what you're really wanting, you're going to really find the answers for this. There's going to be a sort of a new drive for more security, more financial security, or even buying more property. Or could be, like a new property or a new environment that you're wanting to live in. There's going to be quite a strong drive for that with your with Pluto in the 2nd house and Mars activating that in the 5th. So, Sag. So Saggy, you've also come to the end of a stressful time, saying now it's not even relevant in this spread that I can see here, not at all. So it's not even really worth mentioning, but it's just saying that that's a past. That was sort of, there was a bit, definitely a bit of a struggle over the last month or two, and just frustration was building up as well, because it felt like you couldn't get on and do the things you would normally want to do. Now it's saying that you've got the freedom to do it, that you have learnt more patience and you have been patient, and that you're being rewarded for your patience now, as there's a whole new shift of energy going on here for new situations, again around career and investment, like I was saying, the 6th and the 2nd house. So interesting, loads of people here. Saggies are, generally quite active with people, and this feels like there's, when I say there's loads of people here, they do like to keep active. They do have sort of projects or things going on at times, and it just feels like there's coming together with others for a particular direction or purpose or project, or doing something. I guess that's pretty much what I'm saying. It's saying the same thing again, doing something that is relevant, with others for your financial security. And it's the same thing, whether it's a project or whether it's to do with property or whatever. You're going to be incorporating others. But Saggy is good at seeing people for who they are, and seeing what their skills are, and where they can sort of fit them. So it's sort of like if a Saggy was, say, running a situation and they're trying to bring in people and they're going, well, who's going to work well with who? Saggy would sort of see that. Or is your skill going to fit this? You'd sort of see that skill in others. And I feel like through using your intuition, you're going to be bringing certain people together, and you might even be matchmaking, because Saggies do have pretty good intuition and foresight. But it feels like you're the kingpin, bringing people together at this period of time. So that looks really exciting for Sag, because it feels like there's things going on here, even though it's not. It's just showing me the people. There's any concerns around, again, property or security. There seems to be good news, and about partnering up, or about what we're needing to do to make things work and to make things really secure. So, anyone with Sag, Sun, Moon or Ascendant, you might be going, well, we can't purchase this, or we want our children to purchase this, but if we get, them together and them together, and we go, well, let's put everyone's money together, we can go ahead and make this project or this purchase happen. So I'm getting sharing of assets and sharing of money is quite relevant here for Sagittarius. Sagittarians, they like to be mobile, they like to be travelling, they like to be out and about, whether that's by vehicle or air flight. But what I'm seeing here is some sort of like a road trip, or it could even be looking at buying a new car, getting them, really mobile over the next few weeks. So it could be a good time to get in the car and do the driving that you like to do and get away. Again, anything that gives you that sense of freedom. But it also could be buying a new car or upgrading, or having to spend a little bit of money on your car, but it doesn't look unfavourable. It looks actually really favourable. So there could be extra money here to actually get more of what you're wanting. It doesn't look like you're having to spend the money that you didn't allow for. It's more like, no, I want to upgrade now. Yeah, Saggies have had enough. Like I said, there was this sort of tumultuous time, and Saggies don't do stress very well. They're quite, if something's going on, they're very quite full on energy. They exaggerate a bit, so if it's bad, it's terrible. If it's fantastic, it's wonderful. So if it's been stressful, it's like they'd rather just hide away, rather than, otherwise their energy is projected out. And it's like it's not natural for Sagittarius to hide away and to be isolating yourself. It just doesn't feel right, and it feels like they've had enough of that. They're out and about now. They're socialising, they're connecting, and they're doing all the things they want to do, and they feel like they've been held back from doing. And they have had their time of isolation and been hidden away, and feeling like they haven't been able to speak their truth or be heard, or they've felt disappointed with others from what other people have said. Sag has taken on board what other people have said to them. Saggies it can be exaggerated in their mind. It could seem worse than what it was, but it feels like they're going to look at that a bit more clearly, and I feel like just letting go of stuff. So again, this is all about the 8th house, letting go of those old feelings that actually aren't, that really don't serve them anymore. So what I'm seeing here for Sag seems to be some decisions to be made, again, about security. And when I'm saying security, I'm talking about property, assets, and how they can build up on that. And also new ideas around business and productivity. So with all this new productive energy, Saggies are going to be really moving forward. And they're going to be moving forward through connections, like I said. So it looks fantastic. There could be some decisions for Sag to maybe relocate, move to a new area. I think they're going to be looking at what do I want to be around, what do I want to be doing. There could be a better work situation in a new environment, or they could just be, working better from home but wanting to move to this new environment. So there does look like there could be a move or change going on here, but it feels like you've got plenty of options to look at. And there is also, for Sagittarius, there's a sense of relief, sense of like where things have been quite a concern or quite stressful, quite a concern, whether that's financial, whether it's situations around family. Just feels like there's good news and a really good relief. So whether that's about health, money, or relationship, family, it's like whatever it is, it just feels like, whatever your bigger concerns are, it's and that's to do with what's been going on over the last couple of months. Feels like that's really just your mind's going to be put to rest, actually, reasonably so. Capricorn. So Capricorn, this new moon sits in your 7th sector, the sector of partnerships and relationships, and how you interact with others. So this would be a good time for Capricorn to be sharing with others, to be, really interactive in their relationships, or even to be bringing in new relationships. As like I said, the Sun Moon is an initiation point. So that's going to be very positive for Capricorn, for relationships during that time. And where you've got the Jupiter square, it's coming into the home situation. So, there could be changes in your living circumstances through connections and through relationships as well. So, with that, it feels very productive, having that square sitting in the 7th and the 4th. These are really proactive positions to be in for movement forward. Creating more security. If you're not happy with your home circumstances, this would be a perfect time to be changing that. But again, I feel like that's going to come in through connections, through people and that may even come in through family, being with the node sitting there in the 5th placement for you. But it's going to be a time when you're going to be wanting to connect with others, for social entertainment, for whether it's just going to the movies or interacting socially, in more group activities. Definitely it's more of an active placement. It's also a time when it's very proactive time, actually, to be bringing in children. So if you're wanting to have a family, this is an excellent time for Capricorn for that. Or it may just be that you're really proactive with your already existing children. Saturn's been in the 2nd house, so I think there's been a bit of a financial struggle for Capricorn, feeling like, building up assets is a real challenge, or I can't seem to get ahead. Now, Capricorn understands what Saturn's all about anyway, so I think Capricorn understands struggle even, so it's not like that unfamiliar for Capricorns to know what that must feel like with Saturn in the 2nd. But, with that Saturn, Mercury being set off, I feel like they can actually, through new positions of work, or just through extending their work, or even looking at what they're wanting to maybe change with their work, that's where their solutions are going to come in for building up on more assets. So also with the Pluto energy, of course, Pluto's in your 1st house. Now Mars is activating this in the 4th house. So, I feel like there's going to be a real strong pull for Capricorns to either move or to take on more assets. And, the whole thing is going to be they want to feel secure, safe. Their home situation may not feel as good as it should be. So they're just wanting, again, to feel more security around themselves. So Capricorn. So yes, you've got some good offers sitting around you. And there may have been something talked about before, but you sort of wasn't the right timing. So like in about 2 weeks, something's going to happen here for Capricorn to make some very positive changes. So let's have a look. Now, Capricorns are very independent and they do like to do things their way and on their own. Interesting though, because I have got a move here for Capricorn, so you will be moving home. There's a 100% here. I'm not saying every single Capricorn here out in the world is going to move home, but if you're not, you're going to start to look at that or make some plans towards that to give you more peace. I mean, if you've already found your ultimate place, of course, you're just going to be out there in nature and being really grateful. I say in nature, well, I'm saying in nature because I'm feeling like Capricorn's wanting to connect. They're wanting to connect. Whether that's with animals or whether that's with nature, you know, either way, you sort of need a little bit of space for those things. And, you know, if you've already got that, yeah, you're going to be appreciating that and you're going to be sort of utilizing it, like connecting in to nature, maybe writing or getting information out through you connecting into nature. So, you know, this is coming into a real time of peace for Capricorn, where they come to this understanding of what they really want for the future. So it feels like they've been going through a big growth time, actually, and it's been a learning process, and it's been quite a challenge, and things have been going slow. But what seems to be coming up is really great opportunities for career, where you can utilize your skills to a whole other level. So wherever you've been putting your focus for the last however long, you know, it's building up to a particular objective, and there may have been almost a bit of a fear around doing this because, you know, we either have things that stop us from really achieving what our desires are, either fear of success or, believe it or not, or fear of failure. And so the fear of success is like, you know, if I make myself this successful, then how am I going to still have this life here? And, you know, it all gets too hard, and so we don't do it. And then it's like the fear of failure, which is more of the Capricorn thing, you know, of, well, if I do this and I put this energy in and it fails, well, then I don't know if I'm going to be able to live with myself because I'm a Capricorn. You know, I don't want to fail, so they would rather not try. So my point is that, you know, Capricorns, I'm not saying all Capricorns would rather not try, but there is a little bit of that. They want to make sure that before they step into something that's going to be 100% successful, they want that guarantee. And of course, there's never a guarantee. So this is where their lesson is within Saturn. It's like the true success is not, you know, whether you achieved whatever your ideal is or this much money. It's whether you actually tried or not. It's whether you actually applied Saturn and persevered and put all into it. And, you know, Capricorns, when they decide to do that, they will fully do it. That's why they sometimes will avoid doing it. Sometimes they'll even avoid the responsibilities in life because they have a full understanding of how important it is, whether that's being a parent or whether that's, you know, any form of responsibility. They're a bit scared of that because, again, they understand how they'd feel if that was to fail. So for Capricorn, what I'm saying here is that, you know, there's that where the moon is when I say is obscuring this a little bit. So you've got all your skills coming in saying, okay, now let's utilize all your skills and everything you work towards for a new level. And then that moon comes up, which sort of initiates that whole, oh, what if I fail? This is a great opportunity, but, you know, if I you know, ruin this, or if I don't do it all 100% right. So it's like there's a breakthrough with that. Nothing's going to stop the Capricorn from really stepping into who they truly are and allowing them to have what they deserve to have. And where normally I feel like they would be worried about that, and I feel like there's something happening here where it's like, no, they're going to take it's not even a risk because I see a guaranteed thing here, but it's never going to be a risk anyway because, you know, if you know, better to have tried and failed than to not have tried at all. And I guess that's a lesson for Capricorn. So you have fantastic opportunities, and I guess I'm just saying with this moon, and it's only like a 30%, you know, do not fear it. Do not over concern yourself with what ifs, and what if I don't, and I don't know, I can't see it all clearly, I can't, you know, I'm not sure. Well, you're not going to be sure. when we have opportunities and we have to step in, nobody is 100% sure, but it just takes a certain amount of belief and trust, and that could be a little bit of a challenge to Capricorn. So, but I feel like Capricorn's going to get through that. Where you've got the Strength card here, so the Strength card's saying, especially with this King of Rods, because Capricorn is actually Earth, but you've got rods all over it. You've got the Queen of Rods and the King of Rods, and so it's sort of saying that Capricorn's going to take action. They're not going to sit back idly, being stuck in the earth and going, well, should I, shouldn't I? Will this work? Won't it work? I can't deal with failure. This is saying, this is like an Aries. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to, if I fail, I fail, but I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to believe in myself, and I'm going to be supported by a lot of people as well as the universe. So this is saying that you can be brought into new situations. Teamwork for Capricorns is going to look really productive. It's a time when you should believe in yourself, because other people are recognizing your specialized skills, especially in detail and connecting in. It's varied. You've got so many different skills, and we're going to run through them all, but this seems to be where you can specialize in your thoroughness, your ability to hone in into detail, but also your ability to tune in at a spiritual and psychic level, which is an underestimated gift of Capricorns by the Capricorns. So, you stop worrying in your head here. You've got all these options, and then it's like you could talk yourself out of it, and and then you're listening to what other people say, and it doesn't really matter because you're listening to them, but you didn't ever take on board what they say anyway, Capricorns. But it's sort of like that way you can take something that they said and you can talk yourself out of it. But it's sort of just saying, look, just stop that with the mind. Just trust. Take the opportunity. This is a fantastic opportunity. It's coming to you because it's meant to come to you, and it's rightly yours. The offer is there. It's rightly yours. Believe in yourself. If at worst, you don't succeed, that is actually easier to live with than not even trying. And I see you going for it anyway. Like I said, I see Capricorn in their fiery, fiery space of taking action. They also have full-on support from family, and also feel like you can set yourself up to be in these connections. So, we've got the node, we've got that in the fifth placement. And of course, this is all about family here with the sun. But it's sort of saying that, yes, you may get new opportunities to live in a more peaceful environment, or somewhere that you feel more tuned in with. But you're not going to have to, and it may come through others, but you're still going to have your space. You're still going to have your own, you've got the Hermit here. You can have your own space. This isn't about the fact this isn't about you sharing with others. This is more about your independence. And this opportunity is actually going to give you more space and more freedom to yourself so that you can do this work. Good time for Capricorns to get in the garden. They are very connected to the earth and to nature, and to animals, to vibrational energy. And when I say vibrational energy is, that we have to tune into, that can't speak for itself. So, with plants are that, crystals are that, but also animals are also that sort of vibrational energy too, because we have to sort of communicate with them at a more telepathic level. So Aquarius, you've got the sun, moon, new moon is sitting in your sixth sector, your sector of work. So the whole thing is going to be about work this month. The sun, moon is a new initiation point. So you might be thinking about a career change, or you might just be thinking of a new position for yourself. Or it might just be that, this is where things sort of really come together for you at work, where the work becomes easier and you sort of really feel like you're finally in your true place of work. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to make a change of work, but there could be those options if you're not happy in what you're doing. Otherwise, I think you'll feel very settled and very happy with your work situations. So the Jupiter square is sitting from your 6th to your 3rd, and that's your place of communication. So, this is a really good time for you to be sharing with those that you're close to. It's a good time to be communicating what you would like to have and manifesting, communicating through your manifesting of your bigger goals and drives. And the connections where the midpoint for the Sun, Moon, Jupiter, the midpoint of the node is the 4th sector. So that's in your position of your home, where you feel safe, where you feel secure. So other people are going to have things to say about home, property and security. So this could be family members. They could be getting involved with you to do with property or home or investment. Saturn's been in your 1st house, and that's been for a while, and with Mercury sitting there in the 5th. Again, you know, there could be some problem solving that's going on relative to family, children, and or even just you having enough time for yourself to enjoy the pleasures that you're wanting to do, you know, because it's been a very, very, you know, it's a very strong time for work, really. So work's probably kept you extremely busy. So there's a Mars, the Mars-Pluto square. Mars is in the 3rd position and Pluto's in the 12th position. So I think you're just starting to really work out exactly what this drive or this pull or where you're wanting to really place your energy. I think that's going to come into more clarity next month as you know, it moves into the 4th. So, you know, sort of that sort of means that you're you know, thinking sort of more, well, you know, you're happy with what you're doing, but you feel like there's something else. There's some more. There's something bigger that's sort of building up for Aquarius, of a bigger purpose or a bigger sense of satisfaction, and that's just sort of working behind the scenes at this point. So you wouldn't be, I would say, you're so aware of that at this point. It's more just getting on with your work and the normal things in life. But there is something sort of bigger at play that I feel will come in a couple of months' time. So let's have a look at what the cards got to say for Aquarius. Yeah, so Aquarius is, you know, it is a nice time. You've got this nice energy, the Ace of Cups around you, so it's a great time for feeling connected, for feeling love, for those you have a strong connection with. Also a good time to be bringing in, new relationships as well with the Ace of Cups. But the Ace of Cups isn't always about new relationships. You know, sometimes it's about birth of children. It's about new love, but it's also about experiencing that love that you have in existing relationships as well. So we have times when we don't feel maybe so connected, and times when we feel really strongly connected. So yes, there does seem to be some communication about home, property, and that's all connecting with others. So that is, like I said, conversations with others and opportunities to be stepping into your own property or sharing with others. You've got other male, it's very strong, predominantly male energy around Aquarius during this time, and so it feels like the help, the assistance, the connections. Where do I get that in the 4th house here? A lot of that's coming through the male principle, so possibly through the father principle being the 4th, or other family members. But there is some good news coming up for Aquarius, where it's like, you know, they're getting a leg up where they can move forward a lot faster than they thought, where they may have felt like they haven't had full control in their life. The circumstances have felt like it's been underhanded or just not in their control. The control's coming back, and that seems to be around security and finances and work situations as well. So where they're bringing the money in, where they've got their own security, and just having that control, financial control, seems to be a situation where you can take more control. And I feel like the answer to that seems to be, again, lying with others, male connections and female connections, because we've got the sisterhood card here. So we could be talking brothers or sisters, but you know, this is really about what you're doing with others and what you're doing with very strong soul connections, regardless of whether it's family or not. So Aquarius are, you know, they're quite tolerant people in some ways, but there's certain things they will not tolerate. And if situations are conflicting or out of hand, they sort of just turn their back and just don't want to know. They see themselves more mature than that, you know, unless they're an uninvolved Aquarian. But getting the sense of just turning back on conflict and going, no, that's not what I'm wanting in my life. I'm not wanting this situation. So where there has been a conflicting situation, and I think it's the Saturn in the first has probably been a bit ongoing. They're just like feeling like you've had enough, and feeling like, no, I'm not putting up with that. No, I'm clearing that. I'm ending that. And even though there's nothing there in the 8th that I can see at this point, it just feels like it's not a big ending. It's more like just saying what you think and speaking up, and just not being, like cutting off ties and because Aquarians get over stuff quite quickly, but they can be quick to react too. Like I said, they can be tolerant and quiet, but they can also go, no, when they've had enough. And I'm not saying tolerance is their one of their great qualities, but I think it's just that they have the ability to observe and just to say, when do I speak up? So I feel like this has been a situation here, and it just feels like it's not going with what they feel in alignment with, because what's happening for Aquarius is that their heart chakra's been sort of clearing. Something's opening up here, and then they're feeling more love. So situations that have worked in the past for them aren't going to work in the future. So I don't know quite what that means, but I'm sure you Aquarians will understand as you go through this month. And that's just going to make it clearer for them, so they can clearly define black and white. They need to keep things black and white. They were traditionally ruled by Saturn before Aquarius, or Uranus, was discovered. So, they've got that sort of quality of, let's just keep it simple. But in some ways, that sort of is going to work in the situation, because it's like, well, there's light and there's dark, and I just can't be bothered with that, and this is where I'm wanting to be. So what I'm saying is that Aquarians are bringing more light into their life. They're bringing more sunshine into their life. They're bringing more happiness, but they're also bringing more control in their lives, as in where they feel even battered down by words. And, they're not doing it in a forceful way. They're just doing it in their own way. But, because they're also trying to keep everybody happy and keep the peace. And they're trying to resolve situations in family that I feel like they're quite capable of, but doesn't mean it's up to you to resolve that. The sort of situations, any situations around family or you're wanting to resolve, and even if that's been about harsh words, or, when you have had to speak up maybe, it's like the universe is naturally doing that. There's nothing you need to do to take control of that. It's actually being looked after by the universe. So you just trust in that, because it could make matters worse if you try to fix it after things sort of not implode, but come to a little bit of a head. But like I said, I don't see anything really heavy or dark here. I sort of feel like, if anything, things are lightening up for you, and it's been about the struggles of the past that are just now being cleared, which helps you to sort of go, well, okay, yes, it was like that, and now that's been corrected, so we can just move on. We don't need to dwell on that anymore. Whoever that was said sorry, or whoever that was, or whatever that situation was, that's been corrected. We can move forward now. So it's about moving on and moving forward. But like I said, good time for Aquarians to connect up. It'll be a really good time for Aquarians, especially the men, because I was picking up on the men on this particular spread. Could be relative to women too, but I feel like men joining together to like within partnership to either property or business is going to be really successful. So it looks really productive for Aquarius here, but it will be presented to you through, again, connections and others. So lastly, we have Pisces. In Pisces, you have this Sun-Moon initiation point sitting in your 5th house, your house of creativity, your house to do with children, your house to do with where you express yourself, where you work quite uniquely, and that is being squared by Jupiter in your 2nd sector, your sector of home and your sector of investments and assets. So it does look like this could be a big step up for Pisces, for financially being able to build up on their finances or on their assets. the node position where you get like the good fortune, that's going into your third, when I say good fortune, or the fortunate connections with others, that's coming into your third sector, and so that's your sector of your sort of close friends again, or family, siblings. So, it looks like there's going to be a bit of a lift up, or a bit of, productive growth coming through connections for you that you have a very, very special bonds with. And I sort of see that third sector too as like, the placement where you'd find your soul connections, and that could be more like your soul connections that are friendships, like your sisterhood connections or your brotherhood connections. So there will be some sort of good news coming through connections. And the Pluto Mars, so we've got Mars in the 2nd and Pluto in the 11th. So, again, your drive is all around your productivity. You've also got Jupiter in the 2nd too, so that's really, really good for your productive month. But, it's going to be about what you can build on and what you can create. And with Pluto being there in the 11th, that could be focused on working in teamwork or groups, or even working within the community, or working for humanitarian, for working for humanity in some way or another, where you feel like you're being utilised and contributing to society. So that's the 11th sector is all about sort of society and groups and teams. So, that's where the sort of the drive is at the more unconscious level, with Pluto sitting there in the 11th. So Pisces, what's the score for the fish? So we've got decisions to do with opportunities here. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcanas come up, which means that this is a very fated time and a major arcana in the outcome. So a very strong time for Pisces. So Pisces are being pushed by the universe to move forward. You've got the Justice and the Chariot covering, and justice is all about bringing things into balance. It is about pretty much legal justice, and the Chariot's about moving forward. So this is sort of saying things coming into better balance. This is a time for really strong forward movement, and we'll see what that's for. I'll lay out some more. So there's going to be some changes here for Pisces, letting go of what they no longer need to hold on to. Now, this could just be to do with attitudes. It could be to do with, where they've struggled and where they feel like life's been a struggle. But there seems to be a fated situation around here. Like I said, major arcanas covering here. And like at the base here, we've got the Death card, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and we've got the Hanged Man. This is all about coming into a whole new cycle to do with values, to do with where you really want to place yourself. And when I was talking about for Pisces and where they may want to give service to society or humanitarian, this is a humanitarian card. This is a service card. This card doesn't care about making money. It cares about working for the greater good. And this is your fated card, and here's the Death card. So it's sort of saying there's going to be a big change, which is going to allow Pisces to give the services that they really are very good at, because I think it's going to be a time when humanity really needs them and all the others, or anyone with planets or things in Pisces, to be really giving out their service. And it's going to be helpful. It feels also that Pisces, or the Pisces types, are actually been going through a sort of a transformational process of letting go of what is important, or what isn't important, because again the Hangman's about hanging up the material for the spiritual values. It's not a card that says you're going to make thousands of dollars. It's a card that says you're going to get so much satisfaction in your career. But with the Death card here and the Fated card, it's almost like, well, sort of saying that actually sort of releasing you from not being able to make the money and just doing what you love because you love it, but it hasn't been really providing. So it's sort of saying that actually you can do what you love to do, provide a service, and be really well provided for from doing that. And how that happens, well, you don't even have to worry about that, because this card takes care of everything. This card makes things happen when the timing's right. So there's an offer coming to Pisces, and it's going to mean believing in yourself. So Pisces could feel a bit challenged. You've got the Strength card around that offer. So it's like you have to believe in yourself to take the offer. And it's in a position where you have to take the offer, as in if you don't take the offer, you don't get the offer. And of course, that's always the case. But, if it was in another placement, it would be telling me that you've already taken it. It's not even it's a no-brainer. With this, it's saying it's in that position. There's something you need to do. It's something you need to believe in yourself. You need to go, because you could doubt yourself and go, oh, I don't know, that could be too challenging and miss the opportunity. So saying believe in yourself, believe in your gifts. This is also a very time for you to get really creative, especially with your mind, and trust in that, because you're getting the universe is giving you the opportunity to really, really move forward if you want to. So looks like a nice breakaway or holiday here for Pisces, but again, it's like a working holiday. We're sort of getting a similar thing for Sag, but it's like when I say a working holiday, it's like you've got to go somewhere that may be out of your normal environment, but it's to do with work. It's to do with some plans that are going on, and you just got to check it out and see if it's going to work. So there's a lot going on here as with regards to plans for the future, because you're coming into this whole new time, and the outcome is the Fool card, and the Fool card is about a whole new cycle where everything's going to actually look quite different. So there could be an opportunity to step into something quite new for yourself, quite different, and it's very relative to your communicational skills, but also to to a lot of your skills actually, but also skills that you haven't yet developed. So we normally see we step into the skills that we've been developing and working on, where we put energy, we receive energy. It's almost like this could be quite different to where you've been putting your energy, but it's got very much, everything you've been doing is very relevant to this moment when you come into this new phase. So there is an opportunity, there's decisions to make, and it's going to seem scary because it's not as familiar as you would like. But I feel like this is an opportunity that if you take it, it's going to work really, really well. You get this, as you get this news, like I said, you've got to take the action and step up to make things happen. So, Pisces has been going through a bit of a space of not quite sure where the direction is and feeling a bit indecisive. And even if you're not going through this now, it looks like over this month, you're going to feel a little bit indecisive. You're going to be really looking at what's working, what's not working, what's working financially for me, what isn't, what's working emotionally and what isn't, what's working, physically and what isn't. So in other words, you're going to be looking at healing on all levels, emotionally, mentally and spiritually, and sort of seeing what has been affecting your energy, because Pisces have so much energy to give out, but they can easily get drained through their empathetic nature and being quite, being highly sensitive in that spiritual, empathetic way. So it's sort of like, yes, you can step out into the unknown, into these new situations. Make sure that you have protection around yourself. Make sure that the situation is not going to drain you, or you're not, as they say, leaking in energy. We call it energy leaks, because we've got to focus. Sometimes we need to focus on our energy and just whip up protection around ourselves so that we don't feel drained through what we do. So that could be a consideration, is like, is it going to be really beneficial for not just me, but everybody, family, everyone, if I step into this? But what I'm saying is that, most likely we'll be stepping into great opportunities, into new situations, into new ways of thinking and being as well. Or seeing yourself, I feel, when I say thinking and being, I'm feeling like new ways of seeing yourself, new ways of seeing your skills and seeing what you're really capable of. And I can see you working with a team of people, and they're going to be a really, really awesome team. So if you step up into these changes which are being presented to you through certain people and connections, you'll be very, very happy with these people and connections. So there's something about the soul family calling you to a certain direction, and if you join, yes, this is going to work. This is going to be excellent teamwork, because this is about working within teams, but it's also about unique ideas and where everyone can put in their input through their own personal skills, which really suits Pisces, because they like the teamwork, but they also have got a lot to offer in their own mind, like all the signs, something to offer individually as well as within the team. So for Pisces, it's a moving on time. The universe is giving you a big shift with this full-on major arcana cards going on here, bringing you into this new cycle, bringing you into, you know, where everything's looking quite new and different. You know, you could be traveling to places you've never been. You could be experiencing things you've never experienced before. You might find yourself in situations you haven't been in before, which I think are positive situations, because it's almost like the limelight on you, or where you've got to communicate in ways that you haven't been express yourself, which will show you actually what a good communicator you are. You know, so there's all these new experiences for Pisces to experience. And I feel like this is being sort of a growth time of actually recognizing who you are first. And this is the last part of it. So even as the opportunity comes up and you think, oh, you know, that wasn't what I was preparing for, am I capable of that? I think it's like seeing, yeah, absolutely, this opportunity wouldn't have come if you weren't capable. And if you're Pisces, it's not capable of this opportunity obviously won't be coming, but it will be coming. The opportunity that is right for you will be coming to what your skills are. So, you know, it's a really good time to experience new things, to actually lighten the load with regards to what you need to do, to regard to more freedom of expression, and to really express who you truly are and your creative mind, your creative skills. And when I say creative, you know, it's not just a creative, whether it's, you know, art or music or, you know, all those creativity areas or drama. It's also how you can create your world, how you can create a business, how you can create something out of nothing, out of thin air, and write it up and just have this idea and know exactly how it should be and how it should look and what it should be. So, you know, it's a multi-skill. And of course, everyone has their own special areas for Pisces, but you know, this is a time of recognizing skills, utilizing skills, and going into completely new things. So I hope you all found that enjoyable and informative, and you have a great new moon in Cancer, and I will see you next time, or you'll see me next time. Bye.